The Weird Circle. In this cave by the restless sea, we are met to call from out of the past stories, strange and weird. Bellkeeper, toll the bell, so that all may know we are gathered again in the Weird Circle.
Out of the past, phantoms of a world gone by speak again their immortal tale. The Thing in the Tunnel.
Listen. That's the long moaning whistle of the through express, wailing through the lonesome night, crying like a lost and anguished soul in the mountains. Listen to it. I've heard that mournful crying for 10 years, and each time it reminds me of McGregor. Yeah, it reminds me of McGregor. My name's Kelsey, Howard Kelsey. I live out here solitary and alone because I like it. I hear nothing but the wind, and the passenger and freight trains roaring through the canyons and the arroyos of the Clearwater Range, and, of course, myself. I'm a lonely man, sure. I got too many memories. Ah, there she comes. She's through the tunnel now. The Statesman Express, 12-car Pullman roaring like a blast of thunder for home. Ah, McGregor. McGregor, are you flagging her through once more? I met McGregor by accident. In those days, I was new to this country, and I lived here with a fellow named Pike, an old-time prospector. He had a voice of sandpaper and a heart of stone. He didn't like me, and I didn't like him. But prospecting kept us together for a time. Nonetheless, we went out separately, and sometimes 2 or 3 days went by before we saw each other again. I first met McGregor on one of those trips. I'd come through some valley in the Clearwater Range, and just as day was beginning to fall, I found myself on top of a steep embankment, overlooking a gleaming set of rails. The air was dead silent, the mountains around me purple and velvet soft in the setting sun. It was all so still and so silent that, well, for a moment I felt the whole world had died. But just then, suddenly, I saw somebody move down by the tracks. I cried, "Hello, below there! Hello!" Well, the man spun about and stared up the track in the opposite direction. I called again, "Hello, below there! Hello!" The man spun about again, and this time he saw me. "How do I get down there?" "Over to your left. There's a path." "All right, thanks. I'll be down in a minute." Well, the whistle called just as I began to descend. A rumble filled the air, and just as I reached the rail bed, I saw the tunnel, hewn out of mountain rock, and plunging from the tunnel's mouth, like some black, terrible monster, roared a train. It tore by me in a deafening roar. Then when it was past, directly opposite, on the other side of the track, stood the man I'd just called. And he was staring at me strangely. He was short and dark-skinned, and his eyes were sunk deep in his head. He wore a sheepskin coat and an old fedora, and he was holding a signal flag. "Hello. My name's Kelsey."
Hello.
I was just kind of wandering, and, well, I saw you, and I called, and...
I work here.
Oh. Well, kind of lonely, isn't it?
It is.
What do you do?
Don't you know?
What? Well, should I? Oh, the flag. Signal man, huh?
And telegrapher.
I see. Say, look, if I'm breaking any regulation by being here, I mean, well, you look as if
I was thinking that maybe I've seen you before.
Where?
Over there.
By the tunnel mouth?
Yes.
But good Lord, man, I've never seen it before. I didn't even know you had a tunnel here. Well, don't you believe me?
I think so. My name is McGregor.
I'm glad to meet you, McGregor.
My signal shack's just down the road. I've got some coffee inside. I'd be glad to share some. Like you said, it's lonely here. Very lonely. You see, coffee's ready.
Well, can I help? Get cups or something?
No, I'll get them. Tell me, why did you shout what you did when you were on the embankment?
What did I shout?
Hello, below there. Hello. Those were the exact words.
Well, I don't know why I shouted them especially.
Are you sure? You had no reason? I mean, did you feel that somebody or something was making you shout just those words?
No. What makes you think that something did?
They might have.
Who might have? Say, look, are you all right, McGregor?
I'm all right, fine. It's just...
Just what?
Look, listen to me. Don't think I'm crazy. You mustn't.
Oh, why should I think it?
It's just... Well, when you see something, it's there, isn't it? I mean, it's real when you can see it and hear it. It's not a dream or a nightmare when you can see it there night after night. It's real, isn't it? Isn't it?
What in the world are you talking about? Put that coffee down. Over here. You'll spill it. Say, you'd better put it down and answer your key. Say, look. What's the matter with you? What are you staring at that telegraph key like that?
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Leave me alone. Let me out. Let me out.
McGregor! Well, I stood there in the little shack, dumbfounded. And by the time I roused myself out of it, McGregor was coming back. He came into this shack, and his face was haggard, and his eyes strained wide and unseeing. He shut the door.
It's gone.
What's gone? What are you talking about, McGregor? Are you sick or something?
It was there. I saw it. Why does it come back? Why?
Now, look, sit down, man. Calm yourself. You're not yourself. You'd better answer your telegram.
I can't. There's no one to answer. It's him that's doing it.
But who is him?
Can't you understand it? It's a warning. An accident signal. And he's sending it. He's sending
Now, listen to me. This can't go on.
Stands there night after night in the tunnel's mouth, and he shouts frantically, "Hello, below there! Hello! Look out! Clear the track! Clear the track!" Been going on for a week now, standing there and shouting in such an agony.
Well, it's the wind you've been hearing,
It's
man.
not the wind, it's him. Him. He's outside now in the tunnel mouth.
You've been dreaming things.
Then look for yourself. Look for yourself.
I will. Well, I walked up the tracks toward the tunnel. And then I saw it. I stopped dead. And I stared. And there, standing in the tunnel's mouth, wrapped in an eerie radiance, stood a figure. I could see him clearly. One hand waving frantically, and the other hiding his face. And I could hear his voice, like something out of the tomb, pleading.
Hello, below there. Hello. Look out. Look out. Clear the track. Clear the track.
And again that train whistle moaned amongst the hills. And all the time I watched him, he stood there waving, dressed in what seemed to be a short coat and a beaver hat.
Look out. Clear the track. Clear the track.
McGregor! Bring a lantern, McGregor.
Why? He gives his own light.
Bring out a lantern. We're going up to him. He must be real. And McGregor brought out a lantern. And up the twin gleaming rails we moved. The lantern cast a wan pool of light about us. And as we walked, it shook madly, running long, sharp shadows at our feet. And it was cold. It was so cold, my body shivered. My hands were as nervous as an old man's hands. And now the voice of the thing in the tunnel got louder and louder, and it was sepulchral, hollow sounding, and torn with grief.
Look out! Look out! Look out!
McGregor, do you know him? Do you know him at all?
No, he's not real. All week he stood there and called.
Clear the track! Clear the track!
He's waving his arm in such a frenzy.
He's warning me. He's warning me. But of what?
Hello,
of what?
below there. Hello.
When we are close to him, seize him.
Yes. Yes. Seize him. I'll seize him.
Stop it, McGregor. Do you hear me? Stop.
Yes, I'll stop. I'll stop.
Pull yourself together, man. We'll be near him in a few moments now.
I'll try. That whistle. Where's that whistle from? Who trains due now?
McGregor.
What?
Are you ready?
Yes.
Look out below there. Look out. Clear the tracks. Clear the tracks.
Now.
I've got it. What? He's gone. It's gone, Kelsey.
Down the tunnel, quick.
Yes. Vanished under my hands. Like a puff, he disappeared.
Come on, McGregor. In the tunnel. Come on. Look sharp, McGregor. He must be in here. He couldn't disappear like that.
The dead can. The dead can.
Stop it, McGregor. Now look about you. Do you see anything?
You won't find him. You won't. He's not real. You won't find him. You won't. He's dead. He's a ghost, a specter, a vision of death. He's the dead trying to warn me. But of what? Tell me of what? Of what? Of what?
And we did not find the thing in the tunnel. After a while, we went back to the signal shack. McGregor, I said.
Yes.
How long have you worked here?
Some 6 months. Why?
What brought you to this?
I needed a job, and there was one here. The other signalman before me was killed.
Killed?
Yes, a train caught him. Captain Beaver, that was his name.
What?
Eh?
What was his name?
Captain Beaver. That's what they called him, on account... What's the matter?
Didn't you notice, McGregor?
Notice what?
His hat. The thing's hat.
What about... Kelsey?
Yes, McGregor. It was a beaver hat. A beaver.
He's there again.
I'm going outside.
Wait, the lantern. I want to see.
Hello below there. Hello. Clear the track. Clear the track.
Look, McGregor. Look, his hat.
It is, Beaver. I never noticed.
Look out. Look out.
Then it's him. The other signalman come back from the dead. But why? Why? What's he trying to warn me of? Tell me, Kelsey. Tell me. What is the dead trying to say?
At dawn, McGregor's relief came. A young, sullen-looking boy named Carter. They both used a sleeping shack a few hundred yards away from their station, and it was to this shack that McGregor took me. Well, after a while, I fell asleep for, I don't know how long, until...
Kelsey, wake up. It's time. Wake up.
What? What is it? What's the matter?
It's time for me to go on.
Oh, I feel as if I only just fell asleep.
You can stay here if you want to.
No, I want to go alone.
Well, there's the 9 o'clock express coming through. We better go then.
We left soon after, and when we reached the embankment, evening was coming down. And with each step, I felt my heart thudding. The question loomed in my mind like a flame. Was the thing in the tunnel mouth? Was it there? The evening express screamed again through the hills, and its pitch suddenly seemed lifted to a tense agony. When we reached the tracks, my eyes were strained with staring. Well, we went up to the shack. Inside, we asked Carter if anything had happened while he was on. Nope, he said, as dull as ever. He shook himself into a heavy Mackinaw and said so long and walked out. We heard his footsteps fading. We listened to them as if they were the last living sounds we'd ever hear. And then they were gone. And we stood in the shack, hearing only the whistle of the express coming down the hills.
Maybe he won't come tonight. Maybe the thing's left us at last.
Maybe.
I dreamed about that all day. Maybe he's given up and I won't ever hear or see him again.
Even though you think it's trying to warn you or something?
Of what? Of what? What's there to be warned of for a whole week? Maybe it's all a lark, a joke. A dead man's joke.
Take it easy, McGregor.
Tell me, Kelsey, please tell me. Am I going crazy? Maybe I'm seeing and hearing all this in my own brain. I can't tell anymore. I can't. I'm so tired. It would be pleasant to escape, to forget. If I am going crazy...
McGregor, stop it. If you're mad, then so am I. I've seen the thing.
Then what does it want? What does it want? There. There, it's him. It's him again. He's outside. He's come back.
McGregor! I raced out after him. He was standing there between the glistening rails. And in the tunnel mouth, wrapped in its unearthly radiance, stood the thing, waving and calling.
Clear the tracks. Clear the tracks.
And then I became aware of the faint rumble of a train. The express. McGregor, get off the tracks! Get off the tracks!
Clear the tracks. Clear the tracks.
I seized McGregor and I pulled him off. And it was just in time. Like an incredible, fiery-eyed monster, the express engine roared out of the tunnel mouth. Thunderously, multiple eyes it plunged past. And then, unbelievably, it happened. I saw the rear cars as if they were toys suddenly flung, hurtling off the tracks. A fearful grinding and crashing filled the air, and along the embankment there was a turmoil of twisted steel and fire. A sheet of flame leapt up. Smoke poured in billowing clouds from the terrible wreckage, and it screamed. The night was torn with the cries of the injured and the dying. McGregor, get to your telegraph. Call for help. McGregor!
So this is what it was warning me about.
Will you get to your key? There are people dying.
Look, in the tunnel mouth, Kelsey. Look, the thing's in the tunnel mouth.
Clear the tracks. Clear the tracks.
Kelsey, he's still calling it. He's still warning me. This wasn't it. There's something else. There must be something else.
With the first sign of dawn, it disappeared, faded. And with the first sign of dawn, full emergency aid reached this lonely station. We worked all through the night and early morning. And it wasn't until mid-afternoon that McGregor and I parted company, he to his shack and I to mine. We promised to meet again soon, but it was some 4 days before I saw McGregor again. One morning, I heard some rapping on my door. Come in. McGregor.
Hello, Kelsey.
Come in. Shut the door.
He's moved, Kelsey.
Moved?
The thing. He's moved.
He's no longer in the tunnel mouth?
No. It's left it.
Good.
Is it?
Well, isn't it? The thing's not in the tunnel mouth anymore. It's gone. Isn't that?
It's not gone, Kelsey.
What do you mean?
2 nights ago, it moved.
I don't understand, McGregor.
I don't understand it myself, Kelsey. But 2 nights ago, it wasn't in the tunnel mouth. It appeared further down the tracks.
You mean?
I mean it appeared closer to me. And it waved and called to me from its new position. Last night, it appeared even nearer in another position.
But why?
Can't you understand why? It's frantic, Kelsey. Frantic. It can't get me to understand what it wants to warn me of from the tunnel mouth, so it's coming closer. Maybe its time is running out, getting shorter.
Well, maybe it was only an illusion.
Is the thing itself an illusion? No. I tell you, it's trying to reach me to tell me something, Kelsey.
You mustn't go back.
That's just it. I mustn't stay away. I mustn't.
You've got to stay away.
Can't you see? Maybe what it wants to tell me will ease it. Maybe it's an anguished, damned soul and I can free it. I don't know. Maybe it's about a different accident. Or
what?
Or maybe it's about myself. Maybe it's a message to me alone. Maybe that signalman's come back from the grave just for me. I can't go away. I can't. I've got to wait until it reaches me, until I understand, until I know.
And in the falling dusk, we came down the embankment, hearing at the same time the first signalings of the Northwest Limited, the Statesman, winding through the Clearwater Range. We relieved Carter, and after he had gone, we sat down in the shack. Somehow, this night felt uniquely strange. Later on, I knew why.
Kelsey, I have a brother back east.
Huh?
If anything should happen, let him know. I'll write his address.
Now, stop that nonsense, McGregor.
It's not nonsense. I feel it tonight. There's something... You'll let him know, please. You will, won't you?
Well, this is foolish. All right, I will. But nothing's going to happen.
That's the Statesman. It's in the canyon now. I wish I were on it. Going past, never stopping. I wish... Kelsey.
Yes?
Why don't the dead lie still? Haven't they had enough of living? What insane desire drives them back again?
If you don't leave off these ideas...
The telegraph key's all right, isn't it?
Why?
See if the key's all right, Kelsey. Try it. Tap it.
Now, McGregor...
No. See. He has to be able to reach me. If the key's not working, how can he? Tap it.
Well, all right. There. It's fine. It works fine.
And it's strange. Where is he?
Where are you going?
Outside. I've got to see.
Now, will you please come?
Something wrong, I know. I've got to reach. I've got to...
McGregor! McGregor, the key!
Signalman. Captain Beaver, where are you? It's I, McGregor. Where are you, Signalman?
He was calling the thing. And all at once, I was seized with terror. I ran out. There in the moonless night, I saw McGregor walking up the tracks, moving slowly, calling, walking like a lonely, bewildered hunter in the immense starry night of the mountains.
Where are you, Captain Beaver? I'm coming. Where are you?
But something was wrong, because the thing was not visible. Even McGregor was aware of it. He halted uncertainly for a moment, his head turning in all directions.
Can't you find me, Captain Beaver? McGregor, looking for you. Is something wrong? Tell me. What should I do? Tell me.
The train, McGregor! The train! And then suddenly, as if it were a trick of magic, the air flared luridly beside McGregor, and the thing stood there. McGregor touched it.
Captain Beaver, I'm here. What is it? Tell me. What are you trying to tell me?
Look out. Clear the track. Clear the track.
And again the whistle blasted the air. I saw McGregor staring, fixedly, face to face with the thing, as if he were listening. I saw the thing waving and shouting, but all at once I did not hear its words. And I knew that it was speaking to McGregor. Now I know what the thing was trying to warn McGregor of. And McGregor knew it, too. He found it out too late. The train and his own death. I saw McGregor's face contort with horror as he listened to the thing. And then suddenly he spun around, staring wild with fear at the tunnel. And plunging, like a cyclopean-eyed monster, the train roared down. The whole picture in that moment burned into my brain. The thunderous locomotive, McGregor transfixed with horror, and the eerie, gesticulating thing. And then the engine was upon it. They stopped the train a few hundred yards below the accident. But there was nothing much to find, and less to recognize. I stood unmoving for a while. This was what the thing had tried to warn McGregor of. This. His own death. The kind of accident that had occurred to the thing itself once upon a time. I remember still the last time I saw it. It stood where the train had struck MacGregor down, wrapped in its own radiance, holding its bowed head in its hand as if weeping, grieving that its warning had so tragically failed. Ah, listen to it. Listen to it. Forlorn and sad. Go ahead. Blow, engineer. Blow. Lament for MacGregor. Sorrow for MacGregor. Even the dead, the ghost of Captain Beaver, grieved.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have brought you the story, The Thing in the Tunnel. Bellkeeper, toll the bell.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have heard another immortal tale in The Weird Circle. Bellkeeper, toll the bell. Be here in this lonely cave by the restless sea once again next time for another immortal tale in The Weird Circle.
Out of the past, phantoms of a world gone by, speak again the immortal tale, The Moonstone.
"1,000 years ago, in the holy city of Somnath in Mother India, there stood a temple of gold. And in this temple, sitting in somber judgment on his cringing worshippers, was he whom they called the Moon God. And deeply embedded in his golden forehead, there stood a great yellow diamond, fabulous beyond all price. And from it came the evil light of the moon, waxing bright when the moon was full, and waning pale when the moon grew dim. This was the holy treasure of ageless India. This they called the Moonstone. And it came to pass that the great god Vishnu, the preserver, came upon the wings of a monsoon wind and appeared to the 3 high priests of the temple and said to them,
I, Vishnu, have breathed the breath of divinity into the Moonstone. Ye 3 shall watch it, and after you 3 other Brahmin priests, and after you 3 others, till the end of time. And he who lays hands upon this sacred gem and thus defiles it shall come to evil and disaster, and those of his house and name who follow him. This shall be my curse. I, Vishnu, have spoken.
I, Gabriel Betteridge, house steward in the service of Julia, Lady Verinder, have heard the legendary tale of the Moonstone. Once I thought it fanciful nonsense, a tale spun of opium mists and hashish dreams from Bombay to Singapore. Yet today I have reason to believe, good reason to believe, for here in quiet rural Yorkshire, far from the heathen temples of India, I have seen the Moonstone and known its evil heritage. This is the tale I would tell you. It begins in Somnath, India, in the year 1799. The English army was lined up before the ramparts of the city, preparing for a final assault. The night before, a group of officers toasted the coming attack. Among them, Sir John Herncastle, the profligate cousin of my Lady Julia and uncle of Miss Rachel Verinder.
Another drink, Sir John?
Aye, Fairman, fill the cup to the brim with wine.
Shall we drink to victory, then?
No, let's drink to home this time. Home? Who the devil wants to go home? There's no one waiting for me there anyway.
But, Sir John, you have a cousin in Yorkshire.
Lady Julia Verinder? A pox on the hag. She wouldn't even receive me. Seems that the smell of a gentleman adventurer is too much for her nostrils.
She turned you away, then?
Aye, called me wastrel and profligate. But I'll be revenged on my dear cousin. I'll be revenged, mark you. Come, gentlemen, lift your cups to victory. Aye, and to the Moonstone, the greatest prize of India.
All this was related to me by a cousin of this infamous adventurer. Through the flame and desolation, Sir John Herncastle, bloody sword in hand, raced for the temple, rushed into the inner chamber. There stood the moon god, with the glittering gem in its forehead, beckoning him on.
The Moonstone, it's mine. Mine at last. And if the filthy curse goes with it, then I'll take that too.
Less than a year later, they found Sir John lying in a pool of blood outside a tiny inn in Rangpur in Bengal province. His throat had been slashed with 3 deep gashes. 3, mind you, although 1 would have been more than enough to do the trick. As to the Moonstone, it had disappeared. And then it was that young Franklin Blake, a cousin of Sir John, came to our house in Yorkshire and sought an immediate audience with Rachel Verinder, daughter of my Lady Julia.
It's been a long time, Rachel.
Yes, Franklin, it has. Why haven't you been down to see me?
Oh, legal business and the pressure of work. You missed me then, Rachel?
You want a confession?
Well, as a barrister, I should like nothing better.
Very well, then. I throw myself upon the mercy of the court and confess. I did miss you, Franklin. Truly.
You're very lovely, Rachel.
And you're very kind.
Am I? I wonder.
Of course you'll stay the weekend. It's my birthday today, you know. Mother's giving me a party tonight, and the house is full of interesting people right now. Godfrey Ablewhite, the man about town and the talk of London. He's incredibly handsome, you know. And then there's Mr. Murthwaite, the famous Indian traveler.
Rachel, my dear, I have a confession to make. I came up to Yorkshire here to see you, because I wanted to. But I also came up on a matter of business. Your business.
Franklin, what on earth are you talking about?
You've heard of Sir John Herncastle, haven't you?
Why, yes, he's Mother's cousin. They hated each other.
Yes, I know. That's what makes this whole matter so strange. You see, Rachel, Sir John left you a legacy.
A legacy?
Yes, he appointed me executor in this matter, sent the legacy with instructions to hold it in a vault, and give it to you on your next birthday. As a matter of fact, I have it here in my pocket right now.
Well, what is it, Franklin? Oh, I just can't wait to see.
Well, it's in this box. Open it and see for yourself.
What? Oh, but it's beautiful. Exquisite.
Takes your breath away, doesn't it?
A yellow diamond as big as a pigeon's egg. And that strange light coming from it.
Yes, like the light of the moon.
Yes. Yes, that's it. Why, it must be worth a fortune.
Yes, I'd say about 20,000 pounds.
Look, Franklin, I don't understand. Why would Sir John give me this precious gift? Well, I should think I'd be the last person.
I think I know.
Well, then tell me.
Rachel, they call this diamond the Moonstone. It has an unsavory history. This is Sir John's macabre way of revenging himself. Because when he gave you this Moonstone, he gave you the evil curse that goes with it.
Rachel Verinder was not the kind of woman to fear any vague Oriental legend. The Moonstone fascinated her, made her almost drunk with delight. At her birthday party that night, she wore it at the neck of her gown.
A toast to the Queen, gentlemen. Let us drink the health of Mistress Verinder. Ah, but what a vision. She wears a jewel at her throat, but beautiful as it is, its beauty is hard. It flashes without warmth against a greater jewel, she who wears it.
A very pretty speech, Godfrey. No wonder you have all the ladies of London at your feet.
Oh, that was yesterday when I came to Yorkshire. That was a different Godfrey Ablewhite you knew. Tonight, dear Rachel, I grovel in the dust at your feet.
Godfrey, you'll have me jealous of my own daughter. Oh, if I were 20 years younger.
You pine without reason, Julia. The daughter has inherited the beauty of the mother. What do you say, Murthwaite? Is there such beauty in any part of India?
No, nor anywhere else in the Orient.
What say you, Franklin? You've been strangely silent.
I've been thinking of the Moonstone.
What did you say, man?
The Moonstone that Miss Verinder wears at her neck.
Why, Mr. Murthwaite, what's wrong? Are you ill?
No, milady. It's just had a bit of a shock. Mr. Blake, do you mean to say that's the original Moonstone from India?
Yes, I do. It was left in legacy by Sir John Herncastle.
Then I suggest that Miss Verinder dispose of it at once.
Certainly not. If you're referring to that silly legend about the curse.
Brave girl, Rachel. Of course, the whole thing's utter nonsense. This is Yorkshire, not India.
Rachel.
Yes, Franklin.
Why don't you let me hold the Moonstone in trust for you? Let me put it in a safe vault.
Oh, fiddlesticks. You're all acting like a pack of frightened old women. Of course I shall keep it right here with me. I must say I misjudged Sir John terribly. I made no bones of my dislike for him, yet he responded with this magnificent gift.
He had an evil purpose, milady.
Oh, stuff and nonsense, Blake. You're too intelligent a chap to go for this Oriental mumbo-jumbo.
I wouldn't take it so lightly, Mr. Ablewhite.
Rachel, I beg of you, let me be the custodian of that gem.
Aren't you being rather persistent, Blake?
Now, look here, Ablewhite. I think you to stay out of something that doesn't concern.
Gentlemen, please. Mother's right. I'll have no quarreling at my birthday party. What's that?
Strange. It is a very familiar sound, but it's almost unbelievable here in Yorkshire.
Well, I must say I've never heard anything like it. Sounds like some sort of gibberish, like drums beating.
I'll just have a look through the window. Why, but it's incredible.
What's incredible, Murthwaite?
But this is England, I know, yet out on that road there are 3 Indian jugglers. And they're stopping here at this house.
3 Indian jugglers here?
Yes, they're using their drum gourds to advertise their performance.
Let's have them in for a performance, eh, Rachel? Be a capital idea.
Of course, Godfrey, I'd love to. What do you say, Mother? Oh, why not? Frankly, I've never seen an Indian, let alone Indian jugglers. Strange that they should be in Yorkshire, of all places, though.
I wonder if it's so strange.
I stood by the sideboard and watched the strange performance. It held me spellbound, as it did the people round the table. Was it my imagination, or did they actually fix their brilliant eyes during the whole performance on the yellow stone at Miss Verinder's throat? The minute the 3 performers left the premises, Mr. Murthwaite asked the ladies if he might speak privately to all the gentlemen on an urgent matter. They assented, and we gathered in the library.
Now then, Murthwaite, what's this urgent matter you spoke of? I'll warrant you've alarmed the ladies.
I'll come to it, Ablewhite, soon enough. It's about those 3 Indian jugglers.
Yes, what about them?
Just this, Blake. I've seen enough Oriental juggling to know that those fellows are amateurs. What you saw tonight was a very bad and clumsy imitation of the real thing.
You mean that these dark Johnnies are imposters?
Exactly, Ablewhite. Unless after long experience I'm sadly mistaken, those 3 Hindus are high-caste Brahmins.
Then they must be out to the Moonstone.
No doubt about it in my mind. Mr. Blake, you carried that gem from London here, did you not?
Yes, I did.
Then I must congratulate you. You're very lucky to be alive.
Oh, come now. Isn't this a bit thick?
Not at all, Ablewhite. You can take my word for it. Blake here has had a narrow escape. These men are devils. They have the patience of cats and the ferocity of tigers.
It's hard to think that even these beggars would take a human life.
Mr. Ablewhite, do you smoke?
Huh?
I say, do you smoke?
Oh, yes, of course. A pipe. What the devil's that got to do with it?
Do you value the ashes left in your pipe after you've emptied it?
No.
In the country those men came from, they care just as much about killing a man as you care about emptying the ashes out of your pipe. The theft of the Moonstone represents a sacrifice of caste, a serious thing in India. The sacrifice of life is nothing at all.
Good Lord. We'd better warn Rachel, Miss Verinder, at once. Those devils know who has the Moonstone now.
I bolted all the doors and securely locked the windows. Then I retired. The next morning I awoke and had just finished dressing when I heard a commotion on the second floor. I raced upstairs, and on the landing, Mr. Blake, Mr. Murphy...
What happened? Aunt Julia, what happened?
The diamond. What? It's gone, Franklin. It's been stolen.
Are you sure, my lady?
Yes, I saw Rachel put it in this cabinet drawer last night. Now it's empty. You can see for yourself.
Julia, where's Rachel? Is she all right? Rachel?
Please go away, all of you. The Moonstone's been stolen, and there's nothing any of us can do.
Rachel, for heaven's sakes, what's happened? Are you all right? Did you see anything or hear anything?
Go away, all of you. Do you hear? Go away. I don't want to talk about it. I never want to hear of that diamond again.
All of us were struck with Rachel Verender's strange attitude. She locked herself in her room, and we put it down to some kind of feminine reaction at the loss of so precious a possession. Franklin Blake immediately sent for the authorities, and in a short time, Sergeant Cuff of the detective police arrived. Immediately, he summoned us all to the main hall.
Now then, none of you saw anything or heard anything.
Not a thing.
I certainly.
What about you, Miss Verender? The diamond was stolen from the small sitting room adjoining your bedroom.
I don't care to talk about it.
Miss Verender, I'm afraid you'll have to.
Look here, Sergeant. Can't you question my daughter a little later? She's had a terrible shock. You can see that.
Oh, very well, milady. You may go to your room if you wish, Miss Verender.
Thank you.
Now then, did anyone hear any noise during the night?
No.
You seem pretty positive, Mr. Murthwaite.
I am. I didn't sleep a wink last night thinking of that blasted Moonstone and the curse that goes with it.
I don't take any stock in these Oriental stories, Mr. Murthwaite.
Perhaps you don't, Sergeant Cuff. But I can assure you that the stone will bring trouble wherever it goes. Look what it's done to this household already.
Yes, look what it's done to Rachel. She isn't the same anymore. She's so changed.
I think it's very simple, Sergeant Cuff. Just find out where those Indian blighters are and apprehend them.
No need for that, Mr. Ablewhite. I know where those Indian jugglers are.
You do? Where?
They're locked up in the village jail and were there all night. Local constable arrested them on suspicion when they returned from this house yesterday.
Well, then they couldn't have stolen the Moonstone if they were in jail.
Precisely, Mr. Blake. They couldn't. They have a perfect alibi.
And the steward here, Gabriel, says he locked every window and door besides.
Precisely. The thief is someone in this house. Perhaps in this very room.
For 3 days, Sergeant Cuff grilled all the servants and guests, but came up against a blank wall. Meanwhile, the 3 Indians were released from confinement and promptly disappeared. Finally, Sergeant Cuff went back to London, accompanied by Franklin Blake, who had urgent legal business to resolve. Months passed, and Rachel Verender drew more and more within herself. She spent days in her room and would receive no one. Lady Julia did everything to bring back her daughter's once sunny disposition, but it was no use. It was obvious to me that such a radical change in Miss Rachel could not come about through mere grief at the loss of the Moonstone. It was as though she had been affected by some kind of slow-working curse. And then, one day, a visitor came to the house.
Rachel? What is it, Mother? You have a visitor. I'll see no one. Dear, it's Franklin Blake. He's come all the way from London. Franklin? Here? Yes. Very well, Mother. I'll receive him. Come in, Franklin.
Thank you.
Please don't stay too long. Rachel hasn't been well. I'll leave you two.
Rachel,
Hello, Franklin.
why haven't you answered my letters? I sent you 5 or 6.
Don't you know?
No, I don't. Something's happened to you, Rachel. You're changed. Your feeling for me was warm before the night the Moonstone disappeared. Now you've grown cold and distant, even hostile.
I have no feeling for thieves, but contempt.
What do you mean?
I saw you steal the Moonstone.
What?
Yes. I heard a noise in my sitting room that night. I opened the bedroom door just a little and peered through. I saw you rifling the cabinet drawer where the Moonstone lay. There could be no mistake.
Rachel,
I could have exposed you to the police, Franklin, but... Well, I loved you once. If you were willing to throw away that love for the Moonstone, that was your sordid affair. I decided to let you have your evil bargain.
Rachel, I didn't take the Moonstone, I swear.
You were there, Franklin. I saw it. Are you going to deny it?
No. No, I'll not deny it. I was there. I wanted to take the diamond and hold it for you, to direct the danger towards me, to keep you safe. But the diamond was gone. Someone had been there ahead of me.
A likely story.
Then you don't believe me?
No. You're only trying to brazen your way out of it.
Rachel, you must believe me.
Please go, Franklin. Please go at once.
Franklin Blake went straight to Sergeant Cuff in London and told him everything. But Sergeant Cuff, like a hound in the chase, was on a new scent. A certain notorious moneylender and jewel fence, one Septimus Luker, was the key. Sergeant Cuff reasoned that Luker was the only man big enough to handle a gem the size and the price of the Moonstone, and kept his place under constant watch. Then one night, he went down to see Luker and took Franklin Blake with him.
Well, it's certainly not a very nice section of London, Sergeant, especially at night.
These narrow alleyways have sheltered many a cutthroat. There's Luker's establishment across the street.
Oh, yes. The shade's drawn. But there's a little light filtering in at the bottom of the blinds.
Oh, our friend Septimus Luker's in, all right. He transacts his important business at night. By that I mean his thievery.
Sergeant, what interest would Luker have in the Moonstone?
Oh, merely to hold it in a vault in safekeeping until the thief who took it thought the detective police had lost interest.
Oh, I see. As a sort of pledge,
Yes, you see, Blake, the thief would pay Septimus Luker a large commission for holding the gem in a scroll. And then at his leisure, he could transport the Moonstone to Amsterdam. There have it cut up into smaller diamonds.
Oh, yes.
Come on, Blake, let's cross the street and go in. A few questions I'd like to ask. Oh, wait. Someone's coming.
Yes. A man on horseback. Sergeant. Why, it's Godfrey Ablewhite. He's stopping in front of Luker's place.
Blake, get back in this doorway, quick.
He's gone in. So, it was Godfrey Ablewhite who took the Moonstone from Rachel's cabinet.
No doubt about it. Makes proper sense, too. Everybody in London knows that Ablewhite is desperately in debt. Gambled a fortune away and now can't meet his creditors. Come on, let's go in.
Ablewhite. Ablewhite, look. Look there. On the floor.
Septimus Luker. Dead.
Yes. With 3 slashes in his throat. The curse of Vishnu.
There is little more to this tale. The back window to Luker's establishment was wide open, and an empty jewel box lay on the counter. This is the story of the Moonstone. Call the legend fancy if you like. I call it a fact. For on the very day that Franklin Blake and Rachel Verinder were married, a dispatch from India noted that the Moonstone had mysteriously and in the night been restored to the forehead of the moon god in the ancient temple at Somnath. And as far as I know, it rests there to this day.
I, Vishnu, have breathed the breath of divinity into the Moonstone. Ye three shall watch it, and after you 3 other Brahmin priests, and after you 3 others, till the end of time. And he who lays hands upon this sacred gem, and thus defiles it, shall come to evil and disaster, and those of his house and name who follow him. This shall be my curse. I, Vishnu, have spoken.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have brought you the story, The Moonstone. Bellkeeper, toll the bell. Out of the past, phantoms of a world gone by, speak again the immortal tale, the pistol shot.
Listen, the bells. They toll the last requiem of Count Peter Markov upon the still, wintry Moscow air. This is the end of a brave and loyal man. Soon the body will be carried down the church steps and into the black hearse. The funeral procession will wind itself through the dark, quiet, snow-covered streets to the cemetery reserved for the officers of His Majesty's hussars. I shall wait here in front of the church until they carry the coffin out. I shall follow in the funeral procession and watch with bared head while they lower the body into the grave. Yes, this is the least that I, Captain Nikolai Silvio, could do. After all, Markov was my friend. Yes, my very good friend. We were always together as we were 5 years ago on that night when...
Come, Nikolai. This is a night to celebrate. The Tsarina has achieved another birthday. The Tsarina's birthday. Come, my friend, another drink.
No, Peter, I've had enough.
Oh, nonsense. Stefan! Where is that pig of a steward? Stefan!
Yes, come, Markov.
More vodka for Captain Silvio. See that his glass is never empty.
Yes, Excellency.
Come, Peter. We'll drink to the health of Ilya Stanovich.
Yes, I'll drink to that, Peter.
Till the cup is empty. Away with the glasses, my friend. Stefan! Fresh glasses. More vodka. This is a night to remember.
Yes, Excellency.
Peter, I've had enough, and you've had too much.
Aye, too much vodka? Oh, my boy, you know me better than that.
I still say you've had too much. Your hand trembled when you raised that last glass.
I'll prove to you that I'm not drunk, my friend.
How?
Do you see that moth crawling along on the opposite wall?
Yes?
I'll wager you a month's pay that I can smash that insect with one pistol shot.
You're on, Peter.
Wager out. A month.
Now, gather around, gentlemen.
100 rubles on Count Markov.
Well, Peter, am I drunk or am I not?
This was Markov, my friend, 5 years ago. A devil with a pistol and a devil with the ladies. He loved life then, did Markov. And I loved the ballet dancer, Ilya Stanovich. She was like a flame across my heart. When I danced with her, it was like walking on air. Her beauty was rare, exquisite, almost timeless. All I waited for was another promotion in rank before asking for a hand in marriage. One night, shortly after my pistol wager with Count Markov, I stopped at Ilya's apartments. She did not expect me, and it was rather late. As I got out of my carriage, I looked up at Ilya's window on the second floor, and what I saw there froze my blood. Framed against the blinds were two shadows, the shadow of a man and a woman in close embrace. I hid behind a door on the lower floor and waited. And soon I heard the upstairs door open.
Peter, you must be careful. Nikolai must not find out.
Oh, Nikolai? Nikolai suspects nothing. Ilya, my dear.
I don't know. I'm afraid. We can never let Nikolai know. Never.
But you will let me come again.
Oh, yes. Yes, Peter. Peter, we'll never let Nikolai know, will we, Peter?
You're lovely, Ilya. Lovely.
Good night, Peter.
Good night,
I shrank behind the doorway, saw Markov come down the stairs and walk out through the door. Markov, my friend. A cold anger gripped me, shook me as a terrier shakes a rat. I saw a blood-red mist, and in it was framed two faces, the faces of Ilya Stanovich and Peter Markov, laughing at me, jeering at me. But instead of causing violent action, my anger was cool, calculating. I cannot say that any plan formed itself in my mind then, but later, the manner in which things came to pass seemed to fit into a pattern begun at that moment. I walked slowly up the stairs.
Who is it? Who's there?
It's Peter, my dear. I forgot something.
Peter. Nikolai.
Good evening, my darling.
Oh, I...
You're so beautiful, Ilya. So beautiful.
Nikolai. What are you going to do?
So beautiful. No. No, I would not know, for no one would ever tell me, would they, Ilya, that my beautiful one loves another instead of me.
Nikolai, it's you I love. I swear it, Nikolai. Only you.
But while my back is turned...
Oh, don't turn away, Nikolai. Don't go away from me. Don't turn your back on me like that. Nikolai. Nikolai, I love you. Nikolai, come back.
Farewell, my beautiful one. I closed the door and walked slowly away. My Ilya was left alone. And loneliness with a memory of happiness can be a poignant horror. Yes, it was punishment for such as she. The red mist was still in front of my eyes, but this time there was only one laughing, jeering face framed in it. The face of Count Peter Markov, he who lies still in death within that church. Peter Markov, my friend. His face swam in the red mist that stayed before me day and night, and I waited for my chance. Finally, it came. We were playing cards one night in the officers' club.
I don't have any luck at all. Well, I'll see your hand, Count Markov.
Oh, come, Major Voronov. Let's make this interesting. Shall we double the stakes already on the table?
Very well. You've already won a fortune from me tonight. It's my only chance to recoup.
How about you, Nikolai?
I'll stay in the game, Peter.
Nikolai, as an old friend, I advise you not to. I have an excellent hand. The stakes are pretty high, 500 rubles.
I said I'll stay.
Very well, as you wish.
Show your hand, Markov.
There it is. Well, gentlemen?
You win.
Yes, Peter, you win.
I tried to warn you, my friend, but you wouldn't listen.
You've had a phenomenal run of luck tonight, Markov.
Well, there's a very good reason for his luck, Major.
What do you mean, Nikolai?
The hand is quicker than the eye.
Explain yourself, Nikolai. What are you hinting at?
Perhaps you'd better explain yourself, Peter. I saw you take the king of spades from the discards and slip it into your hand.
You're accusing me of cheating?
Precisely.
This is a very serious charge, Captain Silvio.
Apologize, you scum. Apologize, do you hear?
I'll not retract a word. You'll meet me on the field of honor for that, Count Markov.
The sooner the better.
You'll preside at the duel, Major Voronov?
If you wish. Count Markov, as senior officer, it is your privilege to choose the weapons.
Pistols.
Very well. Pistols. Arrange for seconds, gentlemen. You'll meet on the drill field tomorrow at dawn.
Now I had found the pretext for a quarrel. Now it would be either Markov or I. I couldn't go on any longer. The thought of what Markov had done to Ilya and myself was driving me mad. Either way, I thought I would win. If I died, the madness that was eating my heart away would die with me. If Markov died, the madness would dissipate and finally vanish. Yes, either way, I would win. Of course, Markov was a crack pistol shot, but I had the reputation of being a good marksman myself. I gave myself a chance. I could hope a little. We met on the drill field at dawn in full dress according to regiment custom. My hatred for Markov made me icy calm. But Markov was nervous, upset. After all, he had been my friend. We met with Major Voronov.
Captain Silvio, are you ready to proceed with this duel?
I am, Major.
And you, Count Markov?
Not quite. I have a request to make of Captain Silvio through you, Major Voronov.
Proceed.
I have been Captain Silvio's friend for many years. I am not willing to kill him now. If he will apologize, I will consider my honor satisfied.
Well, Captain Silvio?
There will be no apology, Major. Let's get on with it.
Very well. I shall toss a coin, and you, Captain Markov, will call the toss in privilege of your rank. If you call correctly, you will be entitled to the first shot. Is that understood?
Yes, sir. Toss the coin.
Call it, Count.
Heads.
Heads it is, Count Markov. You win first shot. Each of you, according to regimental rules, will be entitled to one shot. Is that understood?
It is.
Yes.
Very well. When I begin to count, you gentlemen are to walk 10 paces in opposite directions. At 10, you're to turn and face each other. Then, Count Markov, you will fire the first shot. Are you ready?
Ready.
Yes, sir.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Your shot, Count Markov.
You missed, Markov. You missed. An inch too high. Yes, you missed.
Your shot, Captain Silvio.
Shoot, Nikolai. What are you waiting for? Shoot and be done.
Oh, no, Markov. I shall not fire now. I should save the bullet for some time later.
Fire your pistol now, you fiend.
No, my friend. Out of the goodness of my heart, I shall let you live a while. I will take my shot another time, when the whim suits me. Still the bells toll on. The yellow light filters through the stained glass windows and spills onto the white snow outside in strange rococo patterns. Yes, an appropriate day for a funeral. A different day entirely from that fine spring morning that Peter Markov and I met again. It was our first meeting after the duel. According to Russian Army custom, we'd been transferred to different units. He to the 5th Lancers, I to the 9th Dragoons. I was enjoying a morning gallop through the park when I came upon an officer and a lady resting their horses. I recognized the officer instantly as Peter Markov.
Nikolai. Nikolai Silvio.
Yes, Markov, we meet again.
I wondered where you've been these 3 years.
On duty in the Crimea. But I've kept trace of you, Markov. I've been looking forward to seeing you again.
Peter,
Aren't you going to introduce me to the captain?
Oh, yes, of course, yes. Maria, allow me to present Captain Nikolai Silvio. Nikolai, Maria Oblensky.
Delighted.
How do you do?
Are you by chance related to General Oblensky, mademoiselle?
Rather closely, I would say, Captain. He's my father.
Oh, indeed, mademoiselle, I am honored.
Have you known Peter long, Captain?
Oh, yes. We're old friends, aren't we, Markov?
Yes, of course. Maria, would you excuse Captain Silvio and myself for a few moments?
Why, yes, but what...
I'd like to talk to him privately.
Oh, some deep, dark soldier secret, no doubt. Very well, Peter. Go and have your talk.
With your permission, mademoiselle?
Of course.
Let's leave the road, Nikolai. There's a little grove of trees over here.
You're enjoying good health, Markov?
Excellent, thank you.
I'm delighted to hear it. They tell me in the barracks that you've been paying constant court to the general's daughter.
Yes, that's true.
An excellent prospect, my friend. I'm glad for your sake. You know how interested I am in your future.
Look here, Nikolai, I can't stand this any longer.
My dear Markov, what are you talking about?
You know very well. That shot you're saving for me, when are you going to use it and be done?
Why, to tell you the truth, Markov, I hadn't given it much thought.
How long are you going to taunt me like this? What kind of revenge do you want? Haven't you had enough? But you know how this eats into a man's mind, his soul? To live in the shadow day after day, night after night, waiting for your whim.
My dear fellow, do we not wait for all things? Even death?
I am not afraid to die, Nikolai. I have faced death before. But I cannot face this waiting, this uncertainty. I owe you a debt. One pistol shot. Measure off the paces and collect it now, I beg of you.
Oh, no, Markov. It does not suit my fancy. I'm not ready yet.
How long? How long are you going to delay?
Patience, my dear Markov, patience. The day is beautiful, and so is the lady. I suggest you go back to her. It's not proper to keep the daughter of a general waiting. Every officer in every garrison knew of the debt of honor Peter Markov owed me. There was no way out for him. He had to wait until I was ready to collect my pistol shots. And I waited. I made it a point to be at every public function Markov attended. I hounded him with my silent presence and saw him slowly crack. One night I went to the theater, took a seat in a box directly opposite that of Markov and Maria Oblensky. His eyes caught mine, froze in horror. Deliberately, I took out my pistol and cocked it. The lights went out, and the curtain went up. There, in the darkness, Markov and I could not speak with our mouths, but we did speak with our minds.
Mariana, I had to talk to you.
Yes, what is it?
Mariana, you know...
Nikolai, I know you're looking at me, not at the stage.
Yes, Markov. And it's a fine play tonight, too.
You have your pistol cocked and ready. You're not going to shoot me here in the theater, are you?
I may, Markov. I can see your head framed in the dim light of the lobby passageway. It would be easy. So easy.
You can't, Nikolai. Not here. Not while I'm with Maria. It would create a terrible scene.
Perhaps. But if there's anything I love, Markov, it's the dramatic. I'll tell you what, my friend. There's plenty of time. I'll just sit here in the darkness and think it over. Perhaps I'll shoot. Perhaps not. Just before intermission, I saw Markov rise and leave the box. The minute the curtain went down, I hurried to the lobby. There I met Maria Oblensky. She was alone, and there was a frightened look in her eyes.
Captain Silvio, Captain.
Oh, good evening, mademoiselle. But where is Count Markov?
He complained of being ill. He left suddenly.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Captain Silvio, something's wrong with Peter. He wasn't ill. He was frightened. I could see it in his eyes. They had a haunted look.
Really, mademoiselle?
Captain, you're an old friend of Peter's. Might I ask a favor of you?
Of course, I'm at your service.
Would you talk to Peter? Find out what's troubling him. He won't tell me. Perhaps he'll talk to you.
It may be that...
Then you'll talk to him as an old friend.
Naturally, mademoiselle. As an old friend. I shall be delighted. What a twist. What a beautiful irony. Here was Maria Oblensky, now engaged to Markov, begging me, Nikolai Silvio, to find out what was wrong with him. I tasted my triumph, savored it, treasured it. I would, in good time, bring it to full flower. And then suddenly the dragoons received orders to quit Petrograd and move north in a swift attempt to crush the Tartars who'd revolted. Weeks later, I led my unit into a birch forest with orders to engage and divert a strong force of Tartars, while a troop of lancers were to deliver a crushing attack on the barbarians' flank. We met the Tartars in a bloody battle where, hard-pressed, our reinforcements were delayed. We waited for the lancers, led by my friend Peter Markov, to attack on the flank. But they never came. The onrushing Tartars slaughtered our troops almost to the last man, and I was the last man. But as far as Peter Markov and the rest of the world knew, I was dead. I preferred it that way. Finally, I came to Moscow, shabby, bearded, unknown, with my pistol hidden under my ragged coat. A newspaper told me that Markov and Maria Oblensky were to be married that week. A reception in their honor was being held that afternoon. They would return, I was sure, to Markov's apartment for supper. I watched the servant preparing the table, and when my chance came, I forced my way through the window and waited.
Oh, Maria, my darling, here we are.
Oh, yes, Peter, after all those people. Oh, I'm so tired.
Come inside, Maria. We'll rest and have supper before we go to the theater. Servant will be back shortly. I've sent him to the cellar for wine. What?
Hello, Markov.
Oh.
Who are you? What are you doing in my apartment?
Don't you recognize me, Markov?
Nikolai Silvio.
Yes, my friend.
But I thought...
I know. You thought I was dead.
Peter, what's Captain Silvio doing here?
I've come to collect a debt, mademoiselle, a debt long overdue.
Nikolai, listen,
I've come to take that pistol shot, Markov.
Nikolai, you can't. Now, listen to me. I'm going to be married. My life's just beginning. I've got so much to look forward to.
Remember Ilya Stanovich, Markov? I was in love with her, too. We were to be married.
Captain Silvio, what are you going to do with that gun?
Ask your fiancé, mademoiselle.
But this is murder.
Oh, no. We fought a duel, mademoiselle. He fired at me and missed, and now it's my turn.
Nikolai, no, please. Please, Nikolai, my friend. No, I beg of you, see, I get down on my knees. Don't shoot. I want to live. I want to live now.
This will make a pretty tale. Count Peter Markov on his knees begging for his life. A Russian officer of noble birth.
Peter, get up.
Maria, don't you understand?
Captain Silvio.
Yes, mademoiselle.
You were a man of honor and principle. You've seen this groveling wretch beg for his life. Isn't that revenge enough?
Yes, mademoiselle. You're right. I cannot kill him now. See, I place my pistol on the table. My honor is satisfied.
Thank you, Captain Silvio.
I bid you good evening, mademoiselle.
Wait, Captain. I'm going with you.
What? Maria, you gone mad? You cannot go. Stay with me.
I will never marry you, Peter. To live with a craven coward like yourself. Yes, to bear your children would be intolerable. Shall we go, Captain?
Very well, mademoiselle.
Maria, in the name of heaven, Maria, don't leave me. Don't leave me.
Believe me, Mademoiselle Oblensky, I'm sorry.
No, Captain, you need not be. You've done me a service, and I'm grateful. Oh! What was that?
Markov!
Oh.
Markov, what is it? What have you done?
Nikolai, I picked up the pistol you left. I hardly touched it. It went off.
It was fate.
It was justice.
Just payment, yes, Nikolai. The time has come at last. The debt is paid. Paid in full. At last.
Peter.
Mademoiselle, the moment for payment has come at last. And I was more lenient than my gun. Although I would spare his life, my gun would not. Shall we proceed, mademoiselle? The eulogy to Markov is over. They're opening the church doors, the pallbearers are carrying the body out, and the church bells seem louder. I shall follow the funeral procession, of course. I shall watch with bared head while they lower the body into the grave. Yes, this is the least that I can do. After all, Markov was my friend.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have brought you the story, The Pistol Shot. Bellkeeper, toll the bell. Out of the past, phantoms of a world gone by speak again the immortal tale, The Possessive Dead.
I know superstition dictates that it's bad luck for a young man to see his bride the evening before his wedding. However, Michael and I were two lonely people in a big, wintry city, and we were not at all addicted to belief in superstition. We had known each other since we were children, and I had loved Michael as long as that. He, on his part, claimed to have loved me even longer. It was the warm kind of love, the kind that grows on you and stays, believing and never wavering. Yes, Michael and I did see each other the day before we were to be married. In fact, we went shopping together. We entered one of the dusty little shops Michael loved so much. It was warm in there, musty, and sort of attic-like.
Ooh. Oh. Well, it's warm in here anyhow.
But what a funny little place. So much stuff. I never saw so many old things together in one place. And look. Look, Michael, the shopkeeper. He looks exactly like a gnome.
Baldest head I ever laid eyes on.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Can I help you?
Oh, thank you. We're just looking around.
Anything in particular you'd like to find?
Well, to tell you the truth, I was looking for an odd piece, something unusual for a paperweight. A little curiosity of some sort.
Well, just look around, sir. Perhaps you'll find what you want.
Oh, thanks. Say, there. That looks like just the thing.
Oh, no, sir, no. I'm sure that wouldn't do.
Oh, why not? It's beautiful. That's the most beautifully modeled foot I've ever seen.
It's not heavy enough for a paperweight, sir. And besides, you wouldn't want to pay that much just for an ornament.
Well, it can't be too expensive, especially if it's not heavy. Bronze, isn't it?
No, not bronze. Oh, here, I'll take it off the table. It shouldn't be there anyway.
Oh, that's lovely. Must have been near some perfume, too. Smell that scent. Well, Michael, it seems almost real.
Perhaps you'd like one of these little plaster gods, sir. Something Chinese or Mexican. They're very nice.
Let me see the foot.
It's $50, sir.
$50? Oh, don't be ridiculous.
Oh, Michael, perhaps the man doesn't want to sell it.
But I like it. I'll never pay $50 for it, though.
But that's the price, sir. Now, you see, you don't really want it. Perhaps one of these glass globes would do.
Let me see that foot.
Very well, if you insist. But don't drop it, sir. For heaven's sake, don't drop it.
Oh, why should I? Oh.
Michael, what happened?
You dropped it. You dropped the foot.
It...
What, Michael? What's wrong? Here, I'll pick it up.
No, don't, Eleanor. Don't touch it.
Michael! It moved in my hand.
It what?
Oh, it must have been our imaginations. It does feel almost alive, though, doesn't it?
No, Michael, I felt it, too. That foot moved in my hand as I picked it up.
I'll sell you that foot for $1, sir.
All right, it's a bargain.
No, Michael, please don't. Please, Michael.
First, though, tell me what this foot is made of.
That, sir, is the foot of the mummy of the Princess Himonthus. It was stolen from her tomb 1,000 years ago.
And probably stolen from the museum 10 days ago. Very well, sir. Here's your $1.
Michael.
Sounds interesting, doesn't it, darling, to own a mummy's foot? A paperweight that moves under its own power. Come on, darling. Don't you feel a little sorry for poor Himonthus? Losing a foot like that?
No, Michael, no. There's something horrible about that foot. Something we shouldn't have anything to do with. And he was so anxious to sell it to you after...
Come on, darling. Don't let your imagination run away with you. It couldn't really have moved. We just thought it did. You know, this will be a good story for Harry tonight over dinner. Where is it he's taking us? The Greystone?
I hardly felt the bitter cold outside as we walked away from the little shop. My only feeling was one of apprehension. I could still remember the horrible sensation I had as that little foot had squirmed in my hand. No matter how Michael might try to joke about it, I knew he was mystified too. And I knew that some compulsion other than his own had made him take the mummy's foot. It wasn't until after we had deposited the thing safely on Michael's desk and were having dinner in a brightly lighted restaurant that I began to feel better. Our host, Harry, was to be Michael's best man the next day, and he was an old friend of both of us. As Michael told Harry the story, the horror of it seemed a little foolish, as such things will when you're in gay public places.
And the funny part of it was, Harry, that if it hadn't been for such a tiny foot, you might have sworn that it belonged to the shopkeeper himself. He looked enough like an Egyptian mummy to be one.
Well, I'm surprised that Eleanor let you buy it at all. It doesn't sound like a very pleasant thing to have around.
I couldn't talk him out of it, Harry. I believe he was enchanted.
Enchanted by an Egyptian and a mummy at that. Michael always was quite a Don Juan, or should I say quite an Antony. Hey, there's a little bit of something I'd wrap up and take home, mummy or not.
Oh, where, Harry?
See? He's interested already. You're right, Harry. I believe he is a Don Juan.
Say, not bad.
Oh, where is she?
Right over there to my left. You can't see her very well, Eleanor, but she's really something. All dressed up in a long white dress and has on an emerald bracelet. And what eyes. Oh, my.
Yes, I can see her in that mirror over there. But look how she's watching Michael. Harry, I don't like her.
Don't worry, Eleanor. We'll get him to that altar tomorrow if we have to hog-tie him.
Well, she's... I feel as though I'd seen her before somewhere. In a dream. Somewhere. Something terrible. Something that makes me feel afraid of her.
Nightmare, no doubt.
You know, she must have passed right close to our table when she came in. I can smell her perfume.
Oh, you know it's hers?
Well, it smells sort of Egyptian, you know, and she looks Egyptian.
Egyptian? Michael, that perfume, it's the same.
Same as what, darling?
The same perfume I smelled on that mummy's foot this afternoon.
What an imagination.
Eleanor, darling, you look so serious. Don't be so afraid of silly things like this. There's nothing wrong, nothing at all.
But there is, Michael. I can feel something wrong in the very air.
What sort of thing?
I don't know, Michael. Something horrible. An awful premonition.
What can happen as long as we have each other, darling?
I don't know, Michael. Nothing really, I suppose. Nothing natural. But what if there were ghosts? The spirits of the dead around. Suppose for some reason they wanted one of us.
Eleanor, darling, don't get so worked up. Those aren't things to think about. Especially on the night before our wedding. Look, here we are in a brightly lighted restaurant, and you're talking about things that belong to dark houses and cobwebby attics. Things that can't touch us here.
You're talking as though you do believe those things exist, though.
Now, look here, you two. I'm sorry if I brought up a delicate subject when I mentioned that woman over there.
It isn't that at all, Harry. It's just that, well, Eleanor and I, after this afternoon, I guess we're both rather worked up.
Michael, I'm really frightened. That woman, she keeps watching us so strangely. What if...
Oh, my darling, let's forget about her. Let's forget about everything but ourselves for tonight. Just think, tomorrow we'll be married. It'll be the beginning of a new life. A life together. And the carrying on of an old one, too.
And never forget, dearest, if anything should happen, I'll always be there when you want me.
I love you, Eleanor.
Always, Michael. You'll never have to call for me. I'll be there.
I will, too, darling. Always. Nothing can ever come between us and tear us apart. Nothing. I swear.
Can you be so sure?
Michael!
Didn't mean to startle you so much. It was just that I couldn't help noticing that you had noticed me.
Well, I'll be... Michael, you're a better Don Juan than I thought you were at that. It's the lady with the emerald bracelet.
Yes, it is Michael, as you call him, who attracts me here.
I beg your pardon.
You don't mind if I sit down, do you?
Well...
Yeah, that's better. You see, love is an especial study of mine. And this love that you think you have now, it's very interesting to me. Yes, very interesting.
Michael,
Sit still, darling. Don't leave now.
Hold my hand tight.
You've guessed right, you people. I am an Egyptian. And being an Egyptian, my looks are rather different, shall I say, from yours.
Nice difference, though, madam.
Mademoiselle, if you please. The women of my country have great beauty in the eyes of you Western men. Yes. So you two think yourselves in love.
Very much in love.
Well, who can say what love is, unless they have felt it through centuries?
I know what love is. It's growing together, being a part of the one you love. Why, Michael and I have grown up together, loved each other for years, 15 years at least.
15 years? Nothing. What if it had lasted 30 centuries?
That's ridiculous.
Is it? Well, my little one, we shall see. There is a love which has lasted that long. And almost it is consummated. Perhaps tonight.
Tonight?
Think of it, Michael.
Michael.
And this little love of yours, 15 years. It will be no more. But as I who have loved through 30 centuries, We cannot talk of that here, can we, Michael?
Well, why do you ask me that question?
Because it affects you. You more than anyone else. As for you, Eleanor, not you nor anyone else can interfere.
Michael, send her away.
No one can send me away. That would be like trying to send the very air out of this room.
Who are you?
I'm a woman of Egypt.
What is your name?
Name? What is a name except a tag for the living? My name is Hermonthus.
Hermonthus?
Just a name like any other. I'll leave you now. But I will see you again.
Hermonthus.
What's wrong with that?
That was the name of the princess. The mummy's who Michael bought.
It's a coincidence, Eleanor. It must be.
It seems as though there's a dreadful net stretched around us, coming closer and closer. Oh, Michael, ever since you saw that foot, you seem to have done everything you could to put yourself in his power. Why did you buy it? Why did you?
Power in a mummy's foot.
Look. She's waving back at us. She's waving as though she wants me to go away. And she's pointing at you. Michael, no one else seems to see her at all.
Now, forget about her, Eleanor. Forget her. She's crazy.
No. Look. Michael, Harry, look.
What?
Look how she's walking. She limps. Almost as though one of her feet was missing. Michael even tried to laugh at my noticing that horrible limp. But I could see that he was wondering, too. Perhaps something distant, something dimly remembered, had begun to come into his mind, and he was rejecting it forcibly. It was later, much later, when I was in bed, that I knew Michael was in danger. I wanted to get up, but I couldn't. I struggled and tried to force myself out of bed, but I couldn't move a muscle. Finally, after what seemed hours, it seemed as though I was in the deepest sleep. But everything about me was very clear. Perhaps I had got up after all, for it seemed all at once that I was in Michael's room, and she was there talking to him. His eyes were open, but he didn't seem afraid. He seemed almost hypnotized. I stayed invisible, back in the shadows.
Centuries ago, Michael, I took the life of the woman you loved so that you might be free to love me. I, the daughter of the Pharaoh, went on my knees to you then. But now the secrets of the universe are open to me, and it's you who must obey.
How did this happen to me? I don't understand.
The shopkeeper knew the legend, and he feared it. He didn't know why, but he knew that in whose hand the mummy's foot moved, to him must he sell it.
But how could you come back?
For murdering, I was condemned. Condemned to wander in eternity, scorned and barred from the regions of rest. But in the centuries that have passed, I've discovered the secret of returning. That if some token, some real part of myself were left among the living, I could return for it. I could come back.
And the token?
It had to carry with it some real essence, some true part of myself. And then, 1,000 years ago, that foot was stolen from me. I waited and waited, for I knew that sometime that would lead me to you.
But I'm not the same man. I'm not the man you loved. I'm here now, alive.
Do you think that I've watched the progression of lives through eternity with no purpose? No, Michael. You are the man, though you don't remember. You have the same life. You have only a different body. You have the same honest and beautiful soul you had then. It's your life, Michael. Your life and your soul. That's what I'll take with me. I couldn't hold you before, but I can take you now. Come, Michael. I do not need to touch you now, but it's better if you take my hand. We have a long journey to make.
Go away. No. Oh, if I could only move, if I could get up, if I could do something. What's holding me?
The journey's long, Michael, and we must hurry. If I must force you, I must.
Leave me alone. I won't come. I won't. I can move. I can move. Let me. I'm almost out of bed. I'm almost standing.
You've moved only a little with all your struggle, Michael. Here, I'll only touch you again and you'll be better.
No. Oh, I'm so dizzy. So weak.
You'll come now, won't you, Michael?
I can do nothing else. Yes, I'll come.
As Michael fell to the floor beside his bed, something caught my eye. A little shiny thing hung on a chain around his neck. It was a silver charm I'd given him, engraved with my name. But he loved it and wore it always. Seeing it there somehow gave me hope. I had no way to get it. I wanted to, for it might be the means of his return. But how could I? I didn't dare even show myself. Suddenly we seemed to be in great darkness, speeding through nothingness.
Where are we?
We're on our journey, Michael. We're passing through the absolute, the period between time and space. It's the only channel through which a spirit can return to the lands of the living in his own body.
It's horrible, horrible.
We've flown through the liquid parts, the parts that are without light, past the half-formed shapes of those already dead and those as yet unborn. See, we're here already.
Where? This is a lonely place. Cold hills and deserts all around us.
This is the place where my body was buried. Deep inside this mountain, Michael. See? We're inside. Deep down in the earth. Sealed in with a great stone. This is our home, Michael. Where we'll be through eternity.
Sealed in a tomb? No. Never. Let me out. Let me out.
Shouting will do you no good, Michael. Here is where no man ever comes, into these tombs. In the thousands of years we will be here, Michael. Your span of life will pass again, but we'll always be together.
I will get out.
Never, Michael. You've left nothing behind in the world of the living that is strong enough a part of you to take you back.
Eleanor is strong enough. She's a part of me.
Your love for Eleanor is strong, Michael, yes. But it's not enough. For love or hate can only take your spirit back to the land of the living. Your spirit alone without your body. And would a disembodied spirit be any comfort to Eleanor?
But Eleanor is a part of me.
No, Michael. For your body to return, you would have to have left a material possession behind. A material thing is needed to take back your material body.
Some material thing that represents your love would be strong enough.
But I must have left something. Something.
The one thing that possesses all those requirements, Michael, is that charm you're wearing around your neck.
The charm. Yes, that's part of me and part of Eleanor, too. That will be strong enough.
But you see, Michael, that's here with us.
I'll throw it. I'll throw it into the darkness there at the far end of this place. Maybe it'll go back. Maybe it'll find its way back to her.
No, Michael, no. Nothing can find its way back. It must be taken.
But your foot, that's still there. We can go back through that. You left that behind.
I will go back, Michael. Alone. Yes, I'll make one more journey back, Michael. And then we'll be here together. Forever. Here. Here, to take the place of that which you have thrown away. Take this ornament. It will remind you of me while I'm away.
No, Montes. Come back. I'm going with you. Let me out. Let me out. Let me out.
But Amanthus had gone. Already she had disappeared into the shadows. And Michael, still clutching a little green plaster ornament she'd given him, beat helplessly at the stone walls of his ancient prison tomb and shouted vainly for help. I kept watching the little silver charm he had thrown into the darkness, and still I struggled against nightmare forces to get it. And suddenly I knew I'd won. I could reach for it. I could feel it. I had it at last in my possession. After that, everything was blackness. A flash of light that was the morning sun brought me back to consciousness. My relief was tremendous. I felt that I'd thrown off a great weight when I found myself safely in bed. Oh, there was someone knocking on my door.
Miss Eleanor! Miss Eleanor!
Oh, yes? Who is it?
Mr. Bays, your superintendent. You asked me to call you. It's late already.
What? Who? Where am I?
Come now, it's past 10 and you must be up. It's your wedding day, you know.
My wedding day? All right, Mr. Bays, thank you.
What is it? Is anything wrong?
It was there. There in my hand. I felt it first and was afraid to look at it. When I looked, it was. Yes, the silver charm.
What's happened, Miss Eleanor? Can I help?
Then it hadn't been a dream after all. Somehow, by some unaccountable mesmeric force, I must have left my bed and gone through all those horrible experiences. But they weren't real. They were things of another world. And Michael. What about Michael? I kept the charm in my hand as I dressed and ran out into the streets. As I ran through the crowds, I kept murmuring to myself, almost as though it was a prayer. Let him be there. Oh, please let him be there. Even as fast as I ran, someone caught up with me. A hand was placed on my arm and held me back.
Eleanor, what's the matter?
Let me go. Let me go. Don't try to stop me.
Eleanor, it's Harry.
Oh.
Don't you even know me?
Oh, Harry. Harry, thank heaven it's you. Come quickly. We flew across town in a taxi. I'd been too excited to think of that before. Everything was still too weird. At last, we were at Michael's. But when we reached his door, he didn't answer.
Hey, Michael.
He isn't there. Oh, Harry, he isn't there.
He isn't. He'll be back in a minute.
Open the door, Harry. Go in quickly. We may be too late.
Boy, he's really sound asleep. Look, he even fell out of bed and didn't wake up. Oh, he's all right. Just asleep.
I hope so. Michael. Michael. Oh, help me, Harry, help me. I brought him back this far, but we have to wake him up. We have to. If we don't now, he may never wake up again.
Come on, old man. Wake up. Hey.
Don't shake him that way, Harry. Here, let me. Michael. Michael, my darling, come back. Come back. Let me put this in your hand so you'll know it's really here. This charm, Michael. Our charm. See? I brought it with me. Harry. The foot. Give me the foot. Is it still on the desk there?
Oh, it ought to be, unless it's walked off by itself.
Oh, don't say that, Harry.
On the desk, did you say? I don't see it here.
And she did get it. Oh, Michael. Michael, Michael.
Eleanor. Eleanor, it is you.
Michael. Michael, my darling, you've come back. We're safe. The foot's gone, but look, there in your hand.
It's
a little green plaster ornament.
Then it wasn't a dream. But those things, how can such things be?
We'll never understand, Michael, never. How a force can be so powerful, so horrible. It's better not to understand.
But Eleanor, she can come back. Her body can come back. The ornament, that might be her power now.
Give it to me, Michael.
What are you going to do?
I'll crush it. I'll destroy it. I'll make powder of it. She'll never come back through this. It's the end of her passport to the land of the living.
Eleanor, what's that? Look, there on the floor, the powder from that ornament. It's formed itself into the print of a tiny foot.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have brought you the story, The Possessive Dead. Bellkeeper, toll the bell. Phantoms of a world gone by speak again their immortal tale, The Goblet.
This is an occasion. It calls for wine. Sweet wine, to think back, to reflect, to decide. Wine to make a fateful decision. Ah, well. A toast, my silver nemesis. Come, a toast to Francesca who has left me. Yes, to Francesca. Why not? Well, little Goblet, we're alone, huh? Now we can talk, just you and I, huh? They would think me mad if they came upon me now. Came upon me, His Excellency, Donaldo Rinaldi, governor of this island, talking to a silver goblet. But they do not know that you are really alive, that you have a black heart and a blacker soul. No. They do not know, but I know. Now I must make a decision, my beautiful, glittering friend, whether to keep you forever or destroy you forever, whether to go on until death with you or without you. Strange how a sweet wine tastes bitter when taken from your cold embrace, little Goblet. I look deep into your silvery mirror, and you reflect the things in my mind, little Goblet, so that I may see them with my eyes. Recall to me a day long ago.
Donaldo, why are you looking at me like that?
Don't you know, Francesca?
Why,
I love you, Francesca.
Donaldo.
Yes, I love you. I ask you to be my wife.
I am of humble birth, the daughter of the village doctor. And you are His Excellency, the governor.
You are a woman and I am a man. And that is all that is important. Will you, Francesca? Will you marry me?
Yes, Donaldo. If you want me, I will be your wife.
Oh, little Goblet. I shall never forget that glorious day. The day before you were created. I was delirious with happiness. I bought Francesca every gift money could buy, fine gowns, a new coach, spirited horses. And I found that Francesca had a passion for things wrought in silver. I found a young silversmith who lived on the island and whose name was Ferdinand, a crafty fellow. He made Francesca a bracelet. It was a rare piece of work, a work of art. And in its graceful lines and smooth luster, there was something else, an indefinable, strange something. When I slipped the bracelet over Francesca's wrist, she was breathless, enchanted.
Oh, it's beautiful, Donaldo. Exquisite.
I'm glad you're pleased, Francesca. Shall I bring you other things from the same craftsman? A necklace, earrings?
I did not know that there was a silversmith like this in all of Italy.
There may not be, for all I know. I had this made right here on the island.
Here? On the island? Donaldo, who is this silversmith?
Well, a man named Ferdinand. I found him quite by accident.
Ferdinand? Ferdinand.
You speak as though the name intrigues you, Francesca. Do you know him?
No, I've never met him. Face to face. But it's almost as though...
As though what, Francesca?
I don't know. What I do know is that his work was made just for me. Look at this bracelet, Donaldo. See how it curves over my wrist. Somehow it feels warm there instead of cold. Almost as though it were live flesh instead of metal.
Oh, come now, Francesca. You're imagining things.
No, Donaldo, I'm right. This silver has a strange, lifelike quality. When I put my cheek against it, it feels like a warm, living caress. See? Hold your hand to it.
It feels like silver to me, my dear. Like cold metal. But if it makes you happy to believe it alive, you shall have your whimsy. More wine, little goblet. Wine to think, to reflect, to recall. More wine to redden your silvery insides and to warm mine. Gee, it grows more bitter still, this vintage. All that you are is bitterness, and all that touches you grows bitter. But come now, listen to me. Where was I? Oh, yes, the bracelet. Francesca could not take her eyes off it. She wore it constantly, caressed it, touched it tenderly, insisted it had a heart and a soul. I was happy. I laughed then. Ah, if I'd only known. Then came another day. It was a day I thought of happy omen. And did I not have a right to think that?
Donaldo, you know, there is something I cannot understand.
What is it, my dear?
How can this wonderful silversmith of yours, this Ferdinand, capture so much of me in his silver without ever having seen me?
He'll see you today, Francesca.
Donaldo, what do you mean?
He's working on your wedding ring, and today it's ready to be fitted.
Oh, so I shall see Ferdinand today.
Yes. Is meeting this silversmith so important to you, my dear? I thought it would be the wedding ring that would intrigue you.
Oh, yes, Donaldo, of course it is. Forgive me, it's just that I'm glad you commissioned Ferdinand to make it. I love his work so much.
Does it matter so much who makes it, as long as it binds us together?
Of course not. It's just that I thought you might have sent for an elaborate ring in Italy.
There isn't enough time. The wedding is too near. Well, my dear, when shall we go down for the fitting?
Now, Donaldo. Let us go now.
Even then, I must have had some faint premonition of what was to come. But at the time, Francesca's eagerness seemed natural enough. I called for a coach and we rode down to Ferdinand's shop. A place you'll know well, huh? Little Goblet. Francesca, my dear, this is Ferdinand.
Signorina, I am honored.
No. It is I who am honored to meet so great an artist.
You are very kind, Signorina.
You have great talent. Rare talent. The things you have made for me, why, they seem to breathe life.
I felt the same life in my fingers when I molded the silver and shaped it. I made it just for you, Signorina.
All this is very well, but it's taking time. What of the ring, Ferdinand? Is it ready?
Yes, Signor. Here it is.
Oh, it is lovely. Lovely. Like all the other things you make.
Come, my dear. Let me try it on your finger. Huh. It's a loose fit, Ferdinand.
Yes, I regret it is, Signor, and my apologies. This is the first time I have made an error in my knowledge of the lady. Up to now, I have always seemed to
know her?
Yes, I have told His Excellency of this strange feeling of affinity many times.
Well, Ferdinand, what are we going to do about the ring? I shall have to rework it again, Excellency.
But that will take time, man. The wedding's only 3 days away.
Have no fear, Excellency. It will be ready for another fitting tomorrow.
Tomorrow? I have affairs of state to attend to tomorrow. It will be impossible for me to come down. Why not just measure her finger now and be done with it?
No, Excellency. There must be another fitting. I want this ring to be perfect.
Of course, Donaldo. You can attend to your work tomorrow. I'll come down alone in the carriage. It'll only take a few minutes.
Oh, very well. But see that the ring fits tomorrow, Ferdinand, or you'll answer to me.
How was I to know, little Goblet? How was I to know that this little silversmith had captured my beloved not only with his work, but with himself? Like a fool, I let her go down to his shop alone. It was only later, when it was too late, that I found out what had happened.
The ring is ready, Signorina. Allow me to put it on your finger.
Oh, thank you, Ferdinand. It seems to fit perfectly.
A symbol of happiness. Or is it, Signorina?
What do you mean?
You know what I mean.
I'm not sure I do. Ronaldo's a good man. He's rich, handsome, considerate, and kind.
I did not mention Donaldo's name, Signorina.
No, but you had it on your mind. There isn't a woman on this island who does not envy me.
A woman cannot live on envy, Signorina. She must love and be loved.
But Donaldo loves me. That is apparent.
Yes, but do you love him?
Why,
The truth, Signorina. No, never mind. I know the truth. I can see it in your eyes. Now can you see what is in mine?
Ferdinand, what?
I made things of silver only for you. They called to you, did they not, Francesca? They drew you to me. I made them live. I molded them with my heart and soul. When I polished them, I saw your face in their reflection. They were meant for you because I was meant for you.
Ferdinand, what are you saying?
I'm saying that I love you. And you love me.
Ferdinand,
You came to me alone. You can never leave me. We are one together, bound by a cord of silver around our hearts. You love me, Francesca. Say it. Say it.
Yes. Yes. I love you, Ferdinand.
Oh, Francesca, my darling. Didn't you know? Did you just discover it?
No. No, I knew. I must have known.
You did know. I sent you the message of my love and the silver I made, and you responded.
But it's too late, Ferdinand. I promised Donaldo that...
No, it is not too late. You cannot learn the rest of your life to keep a promise. Come away with me, Francesca. There's a little inn I know by the sea. We'll find a priest there and be married.
When Francesca did not return, I hurried down to the shop. Are you thirsty, little Goblet? More wine? At the shop, a coachman told me he had seen Francesca leave with the silversmith Ferdinand and had overheard their destination. I hurried after them, my brain fevered with a kind of madness and with murder in my heart. I entered the inn and softly opened the door to their room a few inches. They did not hear me.
Francesca, my beloved, I have a gift for you.
Why, it's a goblet. A silver goblet. Oh, Ferdinand, it's beautiful. Like everything else you make. Alive.
Yes. When I made it, I hated it. It was to be my wedding gift to you and to him. But now it is ours. And remember, as long as you have it, I shall have you. It will be a symbol of our love. Come, Francesca. While we're waiting for the priest, let us make a toast to our future happiness.
No, Francesca.
Donaldo!
Put on your cape, Francesca. I'm taking you home.
Don't go with him, Francesca. He cannot hold you now. You're free of him. Don't go.
As for you, my little silversmith, I'm going to banish you from this island forever.
You know I'm a good man, my evil little Goblet. I thought what I was doing was best for Francesca. I believed she'd get over this foolish infatuation and marry me. You see, I loved her. And after all, I could give her everything she wanted. I kept her in my villa under my housekeeper Rosa's chaperonage, hoping that she would relent and marry me. I suppose Francesca was, in a sense, a prisoner. I don't know. All I know is that I wanted her more than anything else in the world. And I tried everything. Francesca? Francesca? Oh, dear, you need a wrap. You'll catch cold out here on the balcony.
Leave me alone, Donaldo.
Oh, I see you already have company. That goblet. Holding it up to the sun again. Watching it reflect the light, talking to it, fondling it.
Please, Donaldo. I don't want to discuss it.
Perhaps you don't, but I do. When are you going to come to your senses, my dear? People think you're mad. Each day at sunset, standing on this balcony, holding that accursed silver goblet to the sun till it dazzles the eyes.
I did not ask to come here. You've kept me here for 2 years.
Francesca, listen to me. I've got a surprise for you. Rosa.
Oh, yes, Signorina. 5 new gowns, all the way from Paris. They are exquisite, the latest mode. The dressmaker is waiting for you now.
Well, Francesca, doesn't that interest you? Don't you care?
When will you learn, Donaldo? Your gifts don't interest me. I don't care for your gowns and your jewels.
There's only one thing you care about, eh, Francesca? That silversmith Ferdinand.
Please go away. Please leave me alone.
Francesca, for the love of heaven, will you put that goblet down? Stop holding it in the sun. The reflection's blinding me.
It does not blind me, Donaldo.
That goblet, always that goblet. Must I compete against a piece of silver? Must it always be between us? Give me that goblet, Francesca.
No. No, Donaldo. It is all I have to remind me of...
Of Ferdinand? Precisely. Give me that goblet.
You'll not take it away. You'll not. If you do, I shall die.
On the contrary, my dear, you'll come to your senses again. Now, for the last time.
No. No.
Very well, then I shall have to take it by force.
Donaldo.
Give me
no.
that goblet.
No.
I must be free of it. And so must you. You recall all this, my little silver friend? Do I see you grinning at me from your perch there on the table? Well, then I shall drown your grin with more wine. More wine to think. For the time has come, little Goblet, when you and I must come to terms, one way or the other. Yes. Wine still tastes bitter. No matter. I must live with bitterness forever in any event. But recall again what happened. I took you away from Francesca, strode down to the rocks and threw you into the Mediterranean as far as I could throw. I saw the water carry you out. And then with my own eyes saw you sink. Yes, sink. And then, a week later... Someone's at the door, Rosa. See who it is.
Yes, Excellency.
Good afternoon, Senora. My name is Mario. I am a fisher boy at the village.
What do you want?
Pardon, Senora, but I must see His Excellency the Governor.
Go away, boy. His Excellency cannot be disturbed by ragamuffins.
But, Senora, I have found something very precious. It is so precious that it could only belong to His Excellency. See?
Why, it is the Signorina's goblet.
The goblet? Boy, you found the goblet?
Yes, Your Excellency.
Come here, boy. Come into the room. Now, tell me where you found this goblet.
On the beach near the Narrows, Excellency. I was fishing there when I spied it coming in on the tide. I picked it up and came straight here.
Oh, is this accursed goblet? Always it must come between us. Why? Why?
Excellency,
Go away now, boy. Go away, do you hear?
Yes, Senora. Yes.
Oh, Excellency, is something wrong?
Yes, Rosa. This goblet is wrong. It's a silver incarnation of evil that must be destroyed.
Excellency!
Excellency, why did you throw the goblet like that? You broke the lamp.
I must destroy this evil thing. Smash it against the wall.
Oh, Excellency!
Oh, Rosa. Rosa, pick up the goblet from the floor. Give it to me.
Yes, Excellency. Here it is.
No. No. It cannot be. I smashed the goblet against the wall. You saw me, Rosa. And yet, look.
It is a miracle, Excellency. A miracle.
Yes. A devil's miracle. There's not a nick in it. Not a scratch. And its surface shines brighter than ever. What could I do, huh? Little goblet? What could I do against a power like yours? I thought then of Francesca. Believe me, I meant her no harm. I'm a good man, really. A good governor, a humane man. And I loved Francesca. I brought the goblet into her. When she saw it, a strange light came into her eye.
The goblet. Donaldo, you've brought the goblet back.
Yes, my dear.
Give it to me. Give it to me, Donaldo.
Francesca, please, you're not yourself. Perhaps we'd better place it in the vault until
No, no. I must have it now. Now.
Very well, my dear. Francesca, where are you going?
Out on the balcony, Donaldo. I want to look at it again. The rays of the sun. There is a light. A light I must see.
Again she held you up, accursed goblet. Again came that blinding flash of light when you met the sun. I staggered from the room, my eyes smarting from the glare. Threw myself on my bed, tried to sleep, but I could not sleep. My eyes were wide open, my evil destiny. I saw only you, jeering at me, taunting me, as you are doing now. It was only this morning that Angelo Lanzi, my police chief, came to see me.
Excellency, I have a report of interest.
Well, Lanzi, well?
That silversmith you banished from the island, he has come back.
Back?
Yes.
Ferdinand?
I believe that was his name. A little man mumbling to himself, always mumbling one word.
Goblet.
Yes, Excellency, Goblet. How did you know?
Never mind, never mind. Lanzi, where did you see this silversmith?
Why, it's very strange, Excellency. He stood on the hill overlooking the customs house and stared at your villa.
Yes, Lanzi, yes?
There was something bright flashing from an upper story, the gleam of metal in the sun, perhaps. The silversmith watched it as though it were some kind of signal. He never took his eyes from it.
Excellency! Excellency! Something has happened.
Yes, Rosa?
Giulio, the guard, he has been attacked.
It's Ferdinand. He's come for Francesca. The trellis to our balcony. Come with me, Rosa. We must stop them.
Yes, Excellency.
Francesca! It's I, Donaldo. Open the door, do you hear? Francesca!
There is no answer, Excellency. I am afraid.
Francesca! In the name of heaven, speak! Rosa, step to one side. I'm going to break down the door.
Yes, Excellency. Oh, she has gone, Excellency. See, the French windows to the balcony are open. But she has left the silver goblet on the table.
Yes, Rosa. She's left the goblet.
Excellency, the goblet. It is a fire from the rays of the sun. Mamma, look. It is a blinding light. A sign from heaven, surely. An evil sign.
Yes, Rosa. Shut the windows and draw the blinds.
Yes, Excellency.
Now leave me, Rosa. Go about your duties.
But, Excellency...
Leave me alone with the goblet. You hear?
Yes, Excellency, if this is your wish.
Rosa has gone away as I ordered her to and left me alone. Francesca is gone. My beloved is gone. But oh, how considerate of her. She left me you. You! You! But
Are you not a part of her? Did she not say herself that everything that silversmith made for her became a part of her? Lived as she did, had a soul and life? Yes, Goblet. You. She left me more than she could ever give me when she herself was here. She left me you.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have brought you the immortal tale, The Goblet. Bellkeeper, toll the bell. Phantoms of a world gone by speak again the immortal tale. The case of Monsieur Valdemar.
Dr. Froissart, you may proceed with your statement.
Murder. I, Dr. Emile Froissart, stand charged with murder. But, Your Honor, murder means to take away the life of someone. I did not take away the life of Marie Valdemar. I granted her life. Granted it from the depths of my knowledge of facts which previously were known only to God. But let me tell you my story. One night, about 8 months ago, I was sitting in my study.
Dr. Froissart, a visitor wishes to see you.
Oh, I'm about to begin an experiment in self-hypnosis. I cannot be disturbed. Tell him to come some other time.
Sir, I told him that, but he said it might be too late.
Too late? I'm no longer a physician subject to the call of every glutton whose stomach repents his sins.
He knows you are a physician, no more, sir. He said he needs you to employ your powers of mesmerism. I wouldn't have bothered you, sir, but he seems so desperate.
Mesmerism, eh?
Yes, sir.
I'll see him.
Dr. Froissart will see you.
Dr. Froissart, I'm Ernest Valdemar. I don't know how to thank you. My wife, my sweet wife Maria, lies desperately ill. I'm sure she will die.
Monsieur Valdemar, you have gained entrance to my office by a trick. I cannot help your wife. My license to practice medicine has been taken away by pill peddlers who didn't have sufficient intelligence to understand my study of hypnotism. Take your case to one of them, Monsieur Valdemar, and permit me to go on with what they call my black art.
Dr. Froissart, when I told your servant I wanted to employ your hypnotic powers, I meant it.
Huh?
I am acquainted with what your fellow physicians have done to you.
You know?
Yes, and I've heard your lectures on mesmerism many, many times.
Oh, you liked my lectures, eh? Oh, they were nothing. Wait till my new experiments are complete.
But, Doctor,
Please, you will really hear something then. On the threshold of discovering the art of hypnotizing myself. But... You see, when a trance has been...
Please, Dr. Froissart, some other time.
I beg your pardon. My enthusiasm, I forgot myself. Please go on.
My wife is at the point of death.
You have a physician attending her?
Yes. Dr. Bulow.
Bulow? That dulwit. He headed a committee which revoked my license. A more hypocritical, bombastic blowhard I have never seen in all my life.
Let me tell you.
Oh, please forgive me. Go on.
We've been married a short year, during most of which Maria has been ill. We have not even had time to skim the cream of our happiness when ill health overcame her.
What is the nature of her illness?
Dr. Bulow says that it's a rare type of incurable consumption. She lies abed, her beauty unabated, but under the surface her flesh is rotting away in decay and waste.
I see.
Tonight, perhaps tomorrow, she will breathe her last.
Monsieur Valdemar, believe me, sir, I understand your desperation. But I cannot see how I can help you.
By hypnotism, Dr. Froissart.
Hypnotism?
Yes, from the depths of my anguish, an idea came to me. In your lectures, you have stated that a person in a mesmeric trance is, how shall I say it, suspended, lifted out of the stream of life.
Yes?
His consciousness is not like that of an ordinary feeling mortal.
I see. You mean that if your wife were put in a trance before she died...
She would go on living, exactly. She would be beyond the reach of death.
Extraordinary. Monsieur Valdemar, you have leaped the last step in the logic of mesmerism. It is the thing for which I have been groping blindly in my studies.
You'll do it, then.
Well, the idea intrigues me. It has never been tried, but I need time to think.
But, Dr. Fozard, there is no time. Maria may be gone before we can attempt to save her.
Very well, then I'll do it.
God bless you, sir.
But there is one condition. For my own protection, her doctor must be in attendance.
Bulow?
Yes. Otherwise, if the experiment should fail, I will be placed in jeopardy. I might be accused of unlawful practice.
But at this time of night, how can we gain his consent?
We must induce him to attend. Otherwise, I cannot risk the experiment.
My carriage is outside.
Good. We will go to see my friend, Dr. Bulow.
Thank you. Oh, thank you, Doctor.
Come, we must hurry.
Froissart, I tell you, you are overreaching yourself.
Bulow, you have thrown me out of the profession. You have deprived me of my right to earn a living. Very well, I'll not hold that against you.
Oh, that's quite gracious of you.
Please, gentlemen, my wife.
That's right, Bulow. This issue is Monsieur Valdemar's wife, not my pride, not your medical orthodoxy. I do not presume to tell you whether to make your worthless pills out of bread or out of sugar.
Well, I should hope not, you.
Well, then, please don't presume to tell me how to practice my art.
Art? Sheer bunkum.
Perhaps it is. But I am willing to put it to the test. I approach this experiment with an open mind. Monsieur Valdemar's wife lies abed, dying. Monsieur Valdemar loves her, wants her to live. You shrug your shoulders and say, poor fellow, it is hopeless.
Well, it is. If you remembered any of the medicine you learned, you'd agree.
I say it is not hopeless. He wants his wife. I'm willing to try to save her.
God bless you, sir.
No, Monsieur Valdemar, God will not bless him. The first thing a physician learns is that there comes a time in the course of an illness when it is sacrilege to stand between man and his maker.
Bulow, please do not dress up your lack of medical knowledge in the cloak of a sermon.
I tell you, sermon or not, no mortal person can meddle in matters of life and death without meeting the consequences. As Madame Valdemar's physician, I cannot sanction this blasphemous experiment.
Well, Monsieur Valdemar, there is your answer. I'm sorry. But to proceed without Dr. Bulow would only be putting my head in a noose.
Dr. Bulow, I have held my tongue, but I can no longer be silent. I have given to your care the most precious thing I own, my wife.
Monsieur Valdemar, are you suggesting that I have not performed my duty?
No, Dr. Bulow, I'm not, at least not until now. As long as you were willing to try anything your knowledge and experience suggested, I've been patient. But I cannot bear to let Maria slip away from me without attempting to save her.
What more can I do?
Come to my wife's bedside.
Oh, it's madness.
Dr. Bulow, I have hesitated to say this. But if you do not come at my request to attend my wife, I shall spend the rest of my days reviling you to the people of this town. A doctor who is unwilling to come to the deathbed of his own patient, no matter what the circumstances, will not find himself welcome in the house of the sick.
Very well. I shall go with you, Monsieur Valdemar, but only to protect you from this charlatan. Froissart, this is your doing. I won't forget it.
The light is on in my wife's chamber. Come, gentlemen. We have no time to lose.
I warn you, Froissart. Do not attempt any medical cure.
Dr. Bulow, please. This way, gentlemen.
Oh, Monsieur Valdemar, I am so glad you're here. Madame has nearly left us. Twice she called your name and cried, I'm going, Ernest. I'm going.
May God preserve her. In here, Dr. Froissart.
Ernest. Oh, I was afraid you'd left me alone forever.
Never, Maria. I've brought someone Who will help you?
No one can help me now.
Do not say that, madame. Put yourself in my hands. Think only of life, of the joy of living. Dr. Bulow, would you care to examine the patient?
I have given my judgment. You may proceed.
Do you need anything, Dr. Fossard?
Give me a candle, please. And everyone be good enough to remain quiet and let me have your attention and good wishes.
Here is the candle.
Thank you. Now, Madame Valdemar, I am going to put you in a trance. Are you willing?
Yes. Yes, I want to be put in a trance. But I'm afraid you've come too late.
There is yet time. Life does not exist in quantity. It is all or none. While there is life, it can be preserved if you want it, wish it, if there is nothing dearer than it. Look at the candle. See the flame of the candle.
I see the candle.
The candle will preserve you from death if you will put yourself in my hands. In my hands. Look at the candle and think. Think slowly. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Are you asleep now?
Not asleep, but very, very tired.
You want to sleep. You want to fall deep, deep asleep. You're tired. You're drowsy. Sleep. Sleep. There. There. Sleep. Maria, are you asleep?
Yes. Asleep now. Do not wake me. Let me die so.
Do you still feel pain?
No pain. I am dying.
Raise your arm and point at the candle.
Incredible. She hasn't had the strength to do that in days.
Now, lower it. That's very good. She's in a trance now. Will you take over, Dr. Bulow? Perhaps feel her pulse?
Very well.
God bless her. She looks so beautiful.
The pulse is steady, but it's very weak. It's growing weaker.
Her breath is hardly noticeable.
Give me a mirror. We'll see.
Here, Doctor.
There. Just the faintest clouding. Her life is ebbing away fast.
Are you asleep, madame?
Yes. Still asleep. Dying.
Her pulse has stopped. The mirror doesn't cloud. She stopped breathing.
You mean all hope is gone, Dr. Bulow?
Hope was gone before, Monsieur Valdemar. Life cannot be lengthened by the application of parlor games. I only regret that your hopes have been raised so cruelly by this charlatan.
Bulow, did you ever think that there may be matters in this world beyond our ken, forces which are indestructible, which live independently of the beating of the human heart?
Oh, you're mad. Dangerously mad. A deathbed is no place for this cabalistic mumbo-jumbo.
There can be no better place. For there, where life and death meet, is the great mystery which man must ever aspire to know if he is to know God.
What do you mean?
You, a physician, say she is dead. But I put her in a trance, and only I can release her.
But she is dead, man. Dead. There's nothing beyond death.
I put her in a trance, I say, and only I can release her.
It's blasphemy. Sheer blasphemy.
Call it what you will. I care not for names. But watch. And watch carefully. Listen. Maria, are you still asleep?
Yes. No. I have been sleeping. But now, I am dead.
Dr. Froissart, you testify under oath that after her heart and breath had stopped, Madame Valdemar spoke. Is this really true?
I swear to it, Your Honor. I cannot deny that these words issuing from the still, lifeless Maria Valdemar called forth an unutterable, shuddering horror in everyone that was present at her bedside. Even Bulow stood aghast, his face moist with fear.
This is the devil's work. Maria Valdemar is dead. But it was her voice.
It sounded as if it came from a distance or echoed through a large cavern.
I heard the voice, but there's no pulse, no breath. Your wife is dead.
Perhaps it is my turn to preach a sermon, Bulow. How can you, a mere mortal, presume to say what constitutes life and what does not?
Her breath is stilled. Her heart no longer beats. She's dead.
Bulow, can't you see? This is no time to recite elementary physiology by rote.
She's dead. All the signs prove it.
Signs? What signs? Does a dead person speak? No. It is plain that death has been arrested by the mesmeric process.
Dr. Bulow, why do you insist she is dead? We had so little time for happiness together. Do you begrudge me the faint, small spark of life that yet remains? Maria, my love is yours forever.
Her lips tremble as if she's trying to reply.
Monsieur Valdemar, I have my responsibility. Your wife is dead. Her death must be reported.
Bulow, I know your responsibility well. I have exercised it many times myself with heavy heart. But I cannot see how you dare pronounce Madame Valdemar dead.
Froissart, I told you at your trial in front of the committee that no good would come of this dealing with the devil. I warned you before that you would regret your meddling with life and death. Madame Valdemar has died. I must report it.
Please, Dr. Bulow, I beg of you. You heard her speak. You saw her lips tremble. Can't you accept this miracle?
Suppose I do accept it.
Would you?
I can accept the miracle, but I cannot accept the responsibility arising from it.
Then you will issue no certificate of death?
There will be none issued so long as the flicker of life remains. Good night, gentlemen.
Proceed, Dr. Froissart.
The months rolled by. Monsieur Valdemar overwhelmed me with his gratitude for the prolonging of his wife's life. Madame Valdemar remained in the same condition. Her heartbeat and breath continued absent, but her skin, though cold and lacking blood, neither shriveled nor decayed. Her lips still responded to questions put to her with the slightest quiver. But there were no other evidences of life. Monsieur Valdemar derived much comfort from the presence of his wife and became my devoted pupil. Ernest, what brings you here today?
To see you, and perhaps ask you a few troublesome questions.
We'll save the trouble for last.
No, Emil. My mind is ill at ease.
Nonsense, Ernest. Listen, I have been making great progress lately with my new studies.
Oh, yes?
Yes, indeed. I've been practicing self-hypnosis.
Really?
There's no limit to the possibilities of mesmerism. When I can completely grasp the art of hypnotizing myself, perhaps then I will have come close to my goal. Don't you see? A man can be released from a trance only by the person who put him into it. Now, if I should put myself in a trance, Ernest, you're not even listening.
Emil, I'm troubled. Sorely troubled.
Your wife remains the same.
Yes, but...
Bulow has been to see her.
Yes, as usual.
He agrees that there is no change.
Yes. Look, Emil. When I came to you 7 months ago in desperation, you did what I asked you to do.
Whatever is the matter with you today, Valdemar?
I'm beginning to realize the horror of my situation.
My dear fellow, it's just that it's new, perhaps strange. But when mesmeric science becomes better known, you will feel more at ease.
This is not just the mood of the moment. I've felt it growing for some time.
You've been listening to Bulow's prattle.
No, Froissart. It was not Bulow who made my Maria appear to me in a vision. Her arms fettered with heavy chains. A piteous, pleading look on her face.
This is hallucination, not science.
Was it hallucination when she cried out, "Ernest, my beloved, for the sake of God, if you love me, release me. I'm neither on earth nor in heaven."
And again, hallucination. You're giving your imagination free rein. Maria is still with you.
This is not Maria. Not my Maria.
I saved all the life that was in her.
You did. And I thought it would be enough. But as day after day goes by, as night follows upon night, I come more and more to the conviction that this is not she. The real Maria lives in my brain, in my heart, and in the love I bear her memory. Not in this corpse with the trembling lip. Froissart, can't you understand? I'm living in a tomb with the body of a stranger.
Valdemar, what would you have me do?
Release her from the trance.
Come, Valdemar. Come, there's no need to be hysterical. The trance has lasted a mere 7 months. Give me a year. That is not much to ask.
I shall be mad or dead before the year is out. You must release her from the trance.
Remember, Ernest, I cannot tell what will happen.
Whatever happens, at least it will be God's will.
Very well. For you, Ernest, for you as my pupil and my friend, I shall try to release Maria tonight.
Dr. Froissart.
Oh, good evening. It's good to be in out of the rain.
They are up in Madame in her chamber.
They?
Monsieur Valdemar and Dr. Bulot.
Oh, what is Bulot doing here?
I beg your pardon, sir.
Oh, nothing. They are waiting for me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Come in, Froissart. We're ready.
Bulot, what are you doing here?
Attending my patient.
I see.
After all, we agree that she is alive, don't we?
Of course. Monsieur Valdemar, I'm sorry. Tonight's work cannot be done in the presence of an unsympathetic spirit such as Bulot's. It will require the most delicate hypnotic adjustment.
Put your mind at ease, Froissart. Not for the world would I be present at tonight's meeting with the devil. That's your responsibility, completely. I leave her in your hands. Alive.
Good. Now that he's gone, I can work. Maria Valdemar, you are in my power. Awake. Awake. Awake from the trance.
Look, her eyelid twitched.
Maria, I command you to raise your arm. Your right arm. Your arm. Move your right arm. Maria. Maria, can you explain what your feelings or wishes are now?
Look, her lips.
For God's sake, quick, quick. Put me to sleep or waken me. Quick. I say to you, I am dead.
Maria Valdemar, waken, be among the living, waken.
Dead. Dead.
See, our whole body's moving.
Rise, awaken, live.
Dead.
No, she lies still. It is too late.
Maria, are you with us?
She does not answer. Her lips tremble no more. Dr. Bulot!
Valdemar, you called?
Bulot! She's gone. She's dead.
Froissart, what have you done?
Done?
She was alive when I left this room. What have you done?
Nothing. I released her from the trance.
Release? Trance? Neither science nor the law recognizes these terms.
What do you mean, Bulot?
That this is the end of your meddling, Froissart. My patient was alive when I left this room. We agreed that she was alive. Now she's dead. I charge you with the murder of Madame Maria Valdemar.
This, Your Honor, is the true and complete story. With full faith in the justice of the court, I shall await the verdict.
Emile Froissart, you have been tried fairly before this court, and you have been judged guilty of the murder of Maria Valdemar. It is now my duty to pronounce sentence. I hereby condemn you to hang by the neck until you are dead.
Dead? They thought they could kill me, but they forgot that it was I, Emile Froissart, who had discovered in mesmerism the secret of immortality. They led me to the gallows. They blindfolded me. They put the noose over my head. But I laughed at them. Yes, laughed at their gallows and their noose. They sprang the trap.
The noose tightened round my throat. I quickly put myself in a trance from which I could be released only by myself. Dead. I shall go on living forever.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have brought you the immortal tale, the case of Monsieur Valdemar. Bellkeeper, toll the bell. Out of the past, phantoms of a world gone by speak again the immortal tale, the shadow. It is in the hot lands that the sun burns. All sensible folk stay within doors. Windows and shutters are closed the whole day, and it looks as though the houses in the city sleep. But in the evening, the town comes to life. It is lively up and down the streets, and to visitors from Northlands, like Kurt Van Anders and Peter Vroom, watching from their balconies, the Orient is a wonderful spectacle.
Kurt, come in off the balcony.
All right, Peter.
Sit down.
Oh, but the fun's just starting outside.
Sit down, my boy. I want to talk to you.
Well, if you're going to take that tone, all right.
Tell me, who am I?
Who are you? Oh, it's to be a catechism, is it? Very well. You are the Honorable Peter Vroom, tutor extraordinary to Baron Kurt Van Anders.
And who is the Baron Kurt Van Anders?
Why, I am.
And you must not take amiss what I say to you now. For I speak not as friend to friend, but as teacher to pupil.
Oh, so that's why my father sent you after me.
Baron Van Anders, you were promised a year of travel alone for the purpose of completing your education, broadening your viewpoint, and acquiring the degree of sophistication requisite in our Danish society.
I won't go home. I've only had 6 months.
Which you have spent idling in this unwholesome city. Baron, your father is not pleased with us. Consequently, I bring orders that you're to return home at once.
Are you finished, Mynheer?
I am finished.
Well, then let us speak as friends again. Peter, I can't come home yet.
Why on earth not?
Because of that voice.
What voice?
Don't you hear it? Listen. A woman singing. She sings every night at this hour in the house across the street. Oh, she has a lovely voice. An exquisite voice.
Kurt, this does not make sense.
Well, not to you, Peter, because you are old, but I am young. And I am caught on the threads of that lovely voice like a fish in a net. And I will not leave until I've seen her.
Then look. Step to the balcony and look into her window.
I've tried. I can never see her. Oh, Peter, my friend, she has a lovely voice. A magic voice. It's like our northern stars that fill the heart with unquenchable yearning. I would give anything to see her. She stopped now.
It's just as well. Now come to bed, my boy, and forget this romantic nonsense. We've packing to do in the morning. We must leave for Denmark before nightfall.
Well, if those are my grim old father's orders, I suppose I'll have to. But it's hard to leave this mystery behind. Oh, if I could only see her just once.
Why not let your shadow see her?
Oh, don't play the fool with me, Peter.
I assure you I'm not. Have you forgotten the old Danish belief that what your shadow sees by day is what you dream by night?
Why, that's right. I had forgotten.
Here, stand here. That's it. See? The lamp hurls your shadow across the street into that room. Turn your head a little.
All right.
Your shadow must look around the room. It will see her. And tonight, you will see her face in your dreams.
Peter! Peter, Oh.
Kurt! In the name of heaven, Kurt, what is it?
Oh, you have eyes, man. Look! My shadow is gone.
Impossible.
Well, then where is it? Tell me. Point it out to me. Peter, turn up that lamp. There, now. Now, where is my shadow? Step aside, Peter. Let there be no mistake about this.
All right, my boy. You'll see it's all imagination.
Now, then. Look. Well?
I don't know what to say.
Peter Vroom, tutor to the Baron von Anders, master of arts, doctor of philosophy. Out of the depths of your scholarship, explain.
I cannot.
Well, then so much for science and philosophy. Then I'll tell you where my shadow is. It's across the street in a white house with emerald shutters, held by a harpy who sings with all the guile of a spider. And it's to her web I go now. What I have, I keep. And I want my shadow back. I want my shadow back. Open up in there. Open up! You thieves! Harpies! Spiders! Open up, you shadow stealers! Open this door! Open this door, thieves. It is Baron von Anders calling you to account. This is no sheep to be slaughtered in silence and safety. Open up! Yes? You're the woman who sings. You're the woman who stole my shadow.
Yes, my friend, I am. Come, let us go inside. This way, Baron.
Who are you? What kind of a house is this?
I am called the Gray Spinner. And this house is the House of Tapestries. Sit down, Baron.
I don't think I understand.
Not many do, Baron von Anders.
What do you do here?
We spin, my friend. I and my two sisters. We spin lives from gray threads. Small gray threads. The web your shadow was made of.
My shadow?
You have come to claim it. I know. You are too late. We have already woven your shadow.
You have what?
It is an art we practice. To take the thin gray shadows and spin them into living, breathing beings. A fine, exquisite art, my dear Baron. But we are expert artists. There are thousands of our shadow people walking your earth, born of no woman, owing their lives to us.
I don't believe you.
But it is true, my friend. Half the people in this world, half the people you see, half your friends are mere living shadows, spun gray shadows woven by us, the three gray spinners.
I want my shadow back. You have no right.
You cannot have your shadow, my friend. He is a free man. You cannot control him. But beware, Baron, beware. For your end and your shadow's end will be the same. The same end at the same time, Baron.
In the far northern countries, the little sun that is seen gives forth a pale, watery light that shows hardly any shadows at all. One does not notice shadows in the Northlands. One would not notice a man who had no shadow. But a man without a shadow doesn't realize this. He believes all eyes spy out his secret, and like a harried beast lurks in darkness, nursing his fears.
Kurt! Hang it, it's pitch dark in here. But I'll swear this is the place. I know it was him I followed. I know he came into this apartment. Kurt!
Oh, all right, Peter. Suppose I might as well give in. You found me.
Kurt, then it was you.
Yes, it was me. One moment. I've got my tinderbox here. I'll light a candle. I don't usually keep a light going. Naturally, you understand why. There we are.
Kurt, you fool, you fool.
All right, Peter, you found me. Now, don't lecture me.
But to come home with me and then give me the slip right here in Königsberg, to hide for a year, a whole year, and in a hovel like this, my boy, you're insane.
You know I'm not, Peter. A man without a shadow doesn't expose himself.
But what have you been doing for a year?
Looking for a gray lady, a gray spinner, a lady who perhaps might spin me a new shadow.
Shadow, it's warped your mind. Oh, my boy, how could you do this to me and to your father?
How is it with you, Peter?
How can you ask? You must know. I've been dismissed by your father for losing you. My reputation blasted, my career, my life ended. I've spent a year searching for you. Searching and hoping.
That's really very funny, Peter. I've been looking for a shadow without a man, and you for a man without a shadow.
But now that I found you, all will be well again. You'll come with me to your father. I shall be reinstated. We'll make up a story about tropical fever, eh? Loss of mind. All will be well again. You'll
No,
see.
Peter.
You mean you want a different excuse for vanishing?
I mean I'm not going back.
Not going back?
How can I? How can a man without a shadow ever dare appear anywhere? You know how they stoned me in the streets of that city? You remember how we were attacked at every stop on the way home? Wherever I showed myself.
But this is home. You're safe here,
A man without a shadow is safe nowhere. I will not leave this place except at night. And I will not go to my father's house.
I'm going to tell your father where you are. I'm going to tell him why you're here. That you're insane. I'm going to
You tell him nothing.
What? No,
You blind, blundering fool. You'd sell me for a fine, fat job, eh?
No, good. No, in heaven's name.
Listen to me, fool. Listen. Listen while you can still hear. I've nothing left. Money, friends, clothes, even shadow. But 2 hands and courage I have. And with them I fight for what I want. Always. It's the door. Someone there. Peter's body. I got to hide it, but where?
Pardon. I took the liberty. You are Baron Kurt von Anders?
Well,
Pardon again. I did not see you had company. But you are Baron von Anders.
Yes,
That man is dead? Yes?
Yes.
You have just strangled him, Baron, eh? I see the white finger marks on the throat turning red. He died quite recently, hmm?
Yes.
That is very funny. While I entered, his life fled.
Who are you?
Ah, it is as I expected. You do not recognize me, Baron.
No. You're not of the police.
No. It is not my business that you are a murderer.
Then who are you?
Oh, come now. Can you not guess? I've been an old friend of yours for 20 years. We grew up together, my dear Baron. And yet, you do not recognize me.
In heaven's name, who are you?
I am your shadow.
They tell a tale in the far northern countries where this story takes place, that once a man standing before a mirror slipped and fell through the glass, and so met himself in the flesh, face to face. Whereupon he screamed in terror, because the face he saw was so ugly. No, it is not pleasant anywhere to meet and speak with a part of yourself, especially if that part be your shadow.
You are surprised, my dear Baron, eh? What did you expect? Sooner or later, your shadow had to return, eh?
This is impossible. I don't believe it. You are flesh and blood, alive.
Ah, yes. The gray women spin well on the looms. Yes, I'm alive. Flesh and blood. Well woven, so to speak.
And you are no longer a shadow. My shadow.
I am nobody's shadow. I am a prince. A prince of Samarkand.
A prince?
Not by heredity, you understand, but by something better. A prince by conquest, dear Baron. Ah, yes. I've had many adventures during this year. I will tell them to you someday.
What brings you north to Denmark?
It's a strange mission, my friend, and I shall ask your advice, but later. Now, what about yourself? It isn't that wise to murder, you know. They hang murderers. What are you to do?
I must escape somehow.
Escape, yes. Very good. You have money still? You'll pardon me. I can't help asking. These chambers so very poor and ugly.
No, I have no money. I have nothing left since I lost you.
I will help you escape if you will render me a very small service in return.
What service?
I have come north on an import takes me to the court of Maria, Countess of Heligo. You know the name. The lands are in Finland?
No.
Strange, Baron. Your own family is powerful in Denmark. Your acquaintance is large in the northern country.
I've never heard of her. She's some impostor, some deceiver. There is no Countess Maria of Heligo.
And we shall see. But for now, my predicament is this. You see, I have no shadow.
No shadow?
But how could I? The gray ladies weave well, but even they cannot spin a shadow for a shadow.
True.
And so, I will help you escape if you will... Oh, no, this is embarrassing. How can I ask it of you?
Ask what you will. I am a desperate man by this killing.
Then, will you come away with me to Finland? I will protect you, feed you, clothe you, and ask only a small thing in return.
What thing?
That you be my shadow.
Prince of Samarkand, this is the final irony of the gray spinner. So the shadow shall be the master, and the master the shadow.
But you must remember, my friend, it is you who are the shadow. Let me trouble you to remember that, lest I remember to mention a certain killing to the gods of Denmark.
No, you would not.
But you believe I would, eh? And you are right. One does not become Prince of Samarkand through squeamishness. It would be wise to keep that in mind.
I will remember. Only answer me one question in return. Why did you save me from death when I am the one person who can betray your secret? Why?
It was mercy, my shadow.
No, it was something else.
It was mercy.
Enter, Prince, and welcome to Heligo.
My companion will wait outside.
Very well.
I am pleased to greet you after these many months of letters, Prince.
My dear Countess Maria, I've been looking forward to this meeting ever since we reached our delightful agreement. I can only say the beauty of your letters has been but a pale reflection of your own charm.
Not so fast, my friend. You must answer one question for me.
Yes?
Why do you not cast a shadow?
We of the far south are sorcerers. I've had my shadow trimmed up into a man. You saw him just outside the door.
This is most unusual, Prince of Magic.
And it is really a delightful joke. For my shadow is so proud of passing himself off as a man that if he is to be kept in a proper humor, he must be treated quite like a man.
I like that. I have met many princes, but you are the first ever to be original about your shadow. Yes, I think I shall like you more and more, Prince of Samarkand. Prince of Magicians.
Then I shall hope more, Your Grace.
Do not waste too many moments in hoping. It will be a good marriage, my friend. A splendid matching of north and south.
Ah, dear lady.
No. Now go first to your suite. You are wearied with much traveling. There will be a banquet tonight. Go. You must rest. You and your man-shadow. In 2 hours, my friend.
In 2 hours.
Well, is your business finished? Can we leave now?
Listen, my good friend. You will listen closely, eh? I have now become as happy and mighty as anyone can be. I will therefore do something particular for you.
What? You can give me back my shadow?
You shall always live with me in the palace. Drive with me in the royal carriage. Have 10,000 gold pieces a year. Then you must submit to be called Shadow by all and everyone.
No.
You must not say you have ever been a man. And once a year, when I sit on the balcony in the sunshine, you must lie at my feet as a shadow should do.
Never. You ask too high a price for your blood money.
I must tell you, I'm going to marry the Countess.
No. This is not right. I will not have it. And I will not do it. You will deceive the whole country and the Countess, too. All right, I will tell everything. That I am a man and that you are my shadow.
Fool! Who would believe you? Be reasonable, or I will call the guard.
Get out of the way. I'm going to the Countess.
You're a fool. A man with a price on your head. You cannot.
Get out of the way.
But I say...
Prince.
Your Grace.
You're trembling. Has something happened? What was that noise?
Countess,
I have lived to see the most cruel thing that anyone could see. What a pity. His poor shadow brain could not bear the strain.
What is it? What are you saying?
My shadow has turned mad. He thinks he is a man, and I am his shadow.
Poor shadow.
No, I'm afraid he will never recover. I shall have to keep him confined forever. Guard, take him to his room and chain him.
No.
That was not just of you, Prince of Magicians, to take a common shadow and work your enchantments on him. Small wonder he's gone mad.
Perhaps.
You must never play these tricks again. Now, I think it would be a real act of charity to deliver your shadow of the little illusory life he has.
Oh, no.
Yes. When I think the matter over, I'm convinced it will be necessary to do away with him quietly.
No, you must not. I forbid it.
No man forbids me anything in my own court, my friend. We will talk of it by and by at the banquet. But rest assured, your shadow must die. Your shadow, Prince, must die. As you all see, at my right sits the noble Prince of Samarkand, noble cousin from the far south who has journeyed many thousands of leagues to our court.
Your Grace.
One moment, my dear.
I must speak to you. I've not had the chance all evening. I must speak about my shadow.
He will be taken care of, I've promised.
No.
To some of you, the purpose of this visit is a mystery. To a few others, it is perhaps known. Now I shall make the truth known to all.
Cousin, listen to me, I beg you.
What is it?
You must not harm my shadow.
He will not be harmed, my dear. I have promised his little life will be taken. Nothing more. No torture. No pain.
But you cannot take his life.
Cannot in my own castle, Prince? No. It is a lesson you must learn for the future. At this moment, they will be bringing the headsman to his cell.
I beg you, no. I beg you. Great heaven. I can feel the fingers of death chilling my heart even now.
You are oversensitive. We must harden you a little with our northern frost.
Creeps to my throat. Can you do nothing to save me? Stop the death. I beg you.
Prince.
I did not tell him. I did not dare lay my life in his hands. The gray spinner, she told me, when he dies, so must I die. How else should it be between master and shadow? My life linked to his, and now...
He is gone. In the twinkling of an eye, gone. Prince of Samarkand, Prince of Magicians. Nothing remains but an empty sack of clothes. Oh, it's over. The game is played and finished. Away, shadows, all of you. The play is ended. The man is dead in his shadow, too. This shadow castle will vanish, and we must part and go our ways. But we have our little jest now, and we shall chuckle over it for a time. The three gray spinners will have a jest to while away the weary, immortal years, until the time comes to joke and laugh once more.
It is hot in the Southlands and cold in the north. The east winds blow chill, and the west winds sweet and soft. But north and south, east and west, the gray spinners weave the tapestry of some men's lives. Perhaps your own. time-worn pages of the past, we have brought you the immortal tale, The Shadow. Bellkeeper, toll the bell.
Weird circle. In this cave by the restless sea, we are met to call from out of the past stories, strange and weird. Bellkeeper, toll the bell, so that all may know we are gathered again in the weird circle.
Of the past, phantoms of a world gone by, speak again the immortal tale, The Bride of Death. This is the story of death, of a fearful prophecy fulfilled, of a love that could lead only to madness. The first ingredient was death, the cold, sharp steel bite of a Scottish claymore. In a narrow street in a town near Donachburn, an old, half-forgotten Highland feud had flared again. Death peers over the shoulders of three young clansmen as a force twice their number beats them back. Stop a moment and see which one he chooses.
We're badly outnumbered, my lord. Don't let them force you out. Keep your back against the wall. Watch out for them. Keep your sword up, Kenneth. We'll beat them off yet. The traitors cutthroats.
Oh, Kenneth, my lord, you're bleeding.
Ah, death has chosen Kenneth, Earl of Dunbar, oldest son of the noble Scottish house. The shouted encouragements of his servant Bruce will not help him now. The tears of his younger brother Douglas come too late. Together these two carry the wounded man into the home of the Dominie. But the services of this holy man will not change the mind of death.
Come, my son. Let us leave the brothers alone. It's the least that we can do at this moment. You've been wounded in the service of your masters.
Oh, it's only a scratch, Dominie. I'd have died for either of them.
Each man must do his own dying. Even Kenneth, Earl of Dunbar. I believe the younger brother called you Bruce. We shall have to tear your sleeve, Bruce, to dress your arm.
I can't believe it, sir. You don't know his lordship. He won't let himself die.
The clansmen who set upon you, were they from Black Donald's castle?
No, they'd be the last to attack us. That feud has long been over. Derek MacDonald's daughter, Lady Margaret, is to marry young Kenneth. We were on the way to the castle for the betrothal feast.
But the brothers have been away from Scotland most of their lives. The Earl of Dunbar and his bride-to-be can't have seen each other since they were children.
Yes, but it was all arranged by their families years ago. He was to meet his bride for the first time. Oh, you don't know how much it counts on this happiness, Dominie.
I think I do, Bruce. Did you hear the words he spoke to us before he lost consciousness?
You wouldn't find that strange if you knew Kenneth, sir. A man of iron will.
There was an uncanny look in his eyes as he said it. Living or dead, he said, he'd seek her out and have her for his own. living or dead.
The dead now. He's...
Yes, Bruce. Your master is dead. The betrothal feast will never see its guest of honor. Why, my son, you're trembling.
Suddenly, Dominic, I'm afraid. You didn't know this man. I tell you it'll take more than death to stop Kenneth, Earl of Dunbar.
Nevertheless, death was the first ingredient. It was in the mind of Lady Margaret as a girl that the fearful prophecy was planted. But even today, neither her father nor her Aunt Mary know it is there. But it was the second ingredient. It was fear.
No, Father. You can't make me do it. I will not marry the Earl of Dunbar. I'll never marry anyone.
Young Kenneth is not just anyone, Margaret.
Please try to understand, Davok. Margaret's high-strung. She's been alone too much. And now this sudden plan of marriage to a man she's never seen.
That none of us have seen.
20 years ago, you and Kenneth Dunbar played together as children. His father, once the feud was over, became my best friend. We have followed closely his career on the continent.
A career of bloodshed and violence. A professional soldier. And now that he's returning to Scotland, you remember some absurd plan of the past to unite his clan and ours. You remember the Dunbar wealth.
Margaret, that's not fair to your father. All of us consider the Earl of Dunbar a fine match for you in many ways.
You've forgotten the stories of his fits of violence, his strange moods, his cruelty and overbearing willpower.
Gossip. Gossip in your overwrought imagination, Margaret. I have never intended to force you into this marriage.
Oh, Father, if you'd only...
I haven't finished, Margaret. I still don't intend to force you into it. The banquet this evening was arranged to, or shall I say, bring you young people together. Let it rest at that. But of one thing I am determined. If you reject the Earl of Dunbar, young Kenneth, you shall have no other husband while I live.
Thank you, Father. Thank you.
The guests have already begun to arrive. The guest of honor will be here before sundown. We both have duties to perform, Margaret.
Now that he's gone, come here and sit beside me.
I'm sorry I acted so silly, Aunt Mary. But if you only understood how I feel...
I think I do, dear. You're frightened.
I am. But not of young Kenneth Dunbar. It's grandfather's prophecy, Aunt Mary, that frightens me.
Nonsense. Black Donald may have been eccentric, but he couldn't foretell the future, Margaret.
And then there was the story that he'd made a bargain with death for being rescued from this room. And a prophecy of some kind that no one ever knew about.
And it's this superstitious nonsense that's been frightening you, Margaret?
It isn't nonsense, Aunt Mary. You see, I found the prophecy. It says, the last born of Black Donald's clan shall be the bride of death.
Oh, you poor child. To have been living in the shadow of that fear. And all on account of that crazy old man. The bride of death. Oh, don't look like that, Margaret. I can't imagine anyone more alive than Kenneth. You could hardly call the Earl of Dunbar a spectre bridegroom.
I know, and yet somehow I'm afraid. I'm terribly afraid.
There we have two ingredients. All we have to do is to mix them. Perhaps woven together in just the right pattern, they might create a dark tapestry of madness. Twilight has fallen over the wildness of the moors, and a soft wind moans through the trees in the garden back of the castle. Lady Margaret has slipped away from her guests.
Forgive me if I do not rise, Lady Margaret. I have traveled far to get here. I'm very tired.
Oh, I'm sorry I was so silly. But it was rather startling. I hadn't seen anyone come into the garden.
I came through the little gate at the far end.
But we never used that. I mean, I didn't know anyone knew of it except myself. It's all overgrown and with the moor beyond.
I remembered it from many years ago. My home once lay across the moor.
But then, why, of course. Oh, I should have seen the resemblance to your father. You're the Earl of Dunbar.
You're surprised, Margaret?
No. Somehow I knew you were my friend. But you're different in a way, Kenneth. Quieter, more gentle than I'd expected.
There is much that can change a man, Margaret. But you're just as I pictured you. dreamed of you through the years. Lovely, gracious, a warm heart to welcome me home at last.
Perhaps. Don't you think we'd better go in, Kenneth?
Oh, you're shivering, Margaret. Are you cold?
No, it isn't that, Kenneth. I just happened to think of something. Perhaps you remember my grandfather.
Black Dawn? What Highlander doesn't? That might be he coming down the path this moment.
That's my father, Kenneth, Sir Davik MacDonald. I'm afraid he's going to be angry at you for appearing like a ghost out of nowhere.
His anger cannot reach me, Margaret. I'm beyond all human emotion now, except my love for you. To have found you at last, that's all that's left. I haven't time for words, but you feel it too. I know you do. Nothing can separate us, Margaret. Not even death.
Welcome to Blackdonald Castle, my lord. I had almost given you up.
You see, Father, Kenneth slipped in by the back way. I happened to see him here.
I know, Margaret. Your servant told me I'd find you here, Kenneth. The man is strangely frightened.
Bruce has had a trying day, Sir Davik. We both have. I hope you'll excuse us early.
Nonsense, my boy. You'll spend the night here. Now come along. My guests are anxious to meet you. Your fame has preceded you to Cairn Nagasha.
Even so, it's come too late.
What's the matter, Kenneth? You're not well.
Do look a trifle pale, my boy.
It's nothing, Sir Davik. A recent wound. I lost a lot of blood. Margaret, please stay near me. My time is short.
But time is not an ingredient, nor space. One evening may be an eternity, or it may only be a fraction of a fraction, when love awaits the tolling of the midnight bell.
Oh, there you are, Davik. I've been looking for you. It's nearly midnight and the guests are expecting a toast to the Earl of Dunbar.
Mary, I don't understand that young man's behavior. All evening he's avoided me.
He's avoided everyone, Davik, except Margaret. I don't think his eyes have left her face all evening.
It's very strange. I have an uncanny feeling he means her harm. Mary, do you think I've made a mistake? My daughter and a man we know nothing of?
I've never seen Margaret look so happy, Davik, and this in spite of the fears she's carried.
Clan or no clan, I've a good mind to put a stop to the whole affair. I've been too hasty. A Highlander for a son, not a pale-faced imitation, no matter how noble his family. But no one say MacDonald gave his daughter to be the bride of a bloodless ghost of a man.
The bride of death.
Oh, for heaven's sake, pull yourself together, woman. Our friends are staring at you.
Your daughter and the Earl of Dunbar, they're together in the courtyard now.
And what of that, Wallace?
His lordship has ordered his horse. He means to leave. And Sir Davik, he means to take Lady Margaret with him.
What? He avoids me like the plague, then seeks to take my daughter from me without so much as by your leave? Come, Wallace. Get my sword and bring your own as well. It seems the Donalds must once again teach the house of Dunbar its manners.
There he is, Sir Davik. Lady Margaret, too. The servant already mounted. Over there by the gate. See?
Is this the way the Earl of Dunbar repays the hospitality of the Donalds? To steal my daughter like a common thief?
But, Father, let me explain.
I'll brook no more interference of my wishes. Join your aunt and wait for me. And now, sir, what have you to say?
Only that I shall return and take your daughter with me.
By Black Donald, sir, that you'll never do. You and your henchmen shall know the anger of my clan from this day on.
The anger of the Donalds cannot reach me now, Sir Davik, nor any other human being, except your daughter's love. Oh, I must go. Before the final stroke of midnight, I must leave this place.
And it is well you do, young man, if you value your life.
I place no value on that which I no longer have, Sir Davik. Go tomorrow to the great kirk in the town, and you shall understand my meaning.
You are mad. The same madness that claimed your father.
It is not madness that has claimed me, Sir Davik. It is death.
The ingredients have gone into our story but one. The fear in the mind of Lady Margaret is a result of Black Donald's prophecy that the last born of his line would be the bride of death. The fulfillment of this dire foreboding seemed close at hand when her promised bridegroom, Kenneth, Earl of Dunbar, was stabbed to death on the day of his betrothal feast. Had this been known to Margaret, his first appearance before her might have brought madness with it. Instead, it added the ingredient of love. But now Sir Davick MacDonald, Margaret's father, has added the most potent ingredient of all. His anger at his noble guest's behavior brought forth truth, always a dangerous ingredient. To Black Donald Castle, it has brought terror and the dark suspicion that the spectre bridegroom will return to claim his bride.
Lady Mary, is there no change in her condition? She hardly looks alive.
No, Davick. None of your doctors have been able to rouse her. From midnight last and all through the day I've been by her side, here in her bedchamber. She hasn't moved or spoken.
The events of last night have affected her mind, Mary. I wish I'd never heard of the House of Dunbar. If this ghastly story is true...
If, Davick. In your mind, you're as sure as I am that we entertained a ghost last night. Else why should Wallace have ridden to town for you this morning?
It's time he returned.
Deep in your heart, you know the fear of all of us who love Margaret. I could see it in your eyes when you returned from the courtyard last night to blurt out that awful story before your guests.
It was a mistake, I admit it, Mary. But how was I to know that Margaret had discovered Black Donald's prophecy? How was I to know her horror of being the bride of death?
You should never have promised her to a man we hadn't seen. You knew the reputation of Kenneth Dunbar. A strange, wild Highlander with an iron will that has given him life even in death. And now his threat to take her with him.
Quiet, woman. Kenneth, Earl of Dunbar, shall go back to his grave without her. The Donalds fear no man, living or dead. Sir Davick! Wallace, come in quickly. What have you found? But Lady Margaret, sir, I do not want to frighten her again. She can neither see nor hear you, Wallace. But you do not need to speak. I can read the answer in your face. We heard the truth from the lips of a dead man last night.
It is true, Sir Davick. His lordship was killed while on his way to the castle. I could not even get near the kirk. Clansmen from the hills have poured into town to view his body as it lies in state.
Hannah. Hush, Margaret. Don't be frightened. No harm shall come to you.
Watch over her well, Mary. It may be that she will awaken soon. I must decide what shall be done. Come, Wallace. We have much to think of.
Hannah. Margaret, child, try to hear me. This evil thing will never reach you. I shall watch over you. Try to forget your fears. Forget all about the Earl of Dunbar.
She has no fear of me, Lady Mary.
You... Oh, no. No, it can't be. How...
I came from the balcony, Lady Mary. Please do not be afraid. Don't move away.
No. No, you shan't have her. Never. Oh.
Kenneth, you've come back for me.
Yes, Margaret, as I promised. But the time has not yet come. You are ill. We must wait a little while.
But you will come back for me?
Very soon, my darling. Through the fears of those about you, through the dark prophecies of the past, I'll come. You're not afraid?
My fear was only that you'd left me, Kenneth. There are no words that matter anymore. I only know that I love you, that you're unhappy, that you need me.
We shall be together soon. Come, sleep now, and know that from wind-swept moors outside your window, I shall be watching over you.
The ingredients of life do not always mix as you expect them to. The poison of fear can often be cleared away by the potency of love. But the clansmen of Lady Margaret had no such protection as they looked upon the powerful ingredient of truth. Within the great stone walls of Black Donald Castle, the terror of the spectre bridegroom grew as the days went by. One night, as the wind lashed the rain across the moors and rattled the ancient casements in the great hall, Sir Davick paced uneasily before the fire,
In the name of heaven, Wallace, come away from that window. There's nothing to see. Warm yourself here by the fire.
It's a fearful night, Sir Davik. It's in my mind that the spectre bridegroom may be abroad again.
Watching won't keep him away. Nor guards either, for that matter. Did Lady Mary tell you that one of my men saw the black figure climbing down the vines beneath Margaret's window?
Aye, and that he vanished before his very eyes. It's common talk throughout the castle.
They think of nothing else, Wallace. I swear it's like living with people who have lost their minds.
It's Lady Margaret's health that concerns me, Sir Davik. She will not eat. She will talk to no one. She spends her days and half her nights watching from a window overlooking the garden.
You waste your breath telling me these things, Wallace. I know what's in your mind only too well. You think my daughter is mad, that she has come to think of herself as the bride of death.
I do, Sir Davik. As well as I love the Lady Margaret, I've seen the light in her eyes. It isn't fear, I swear. The lass is waiting for this dead man, this Earl of Dunbar, to return.
Wallace, you're one of my most faithful henchmen, but you're as bad as the rest. This talk is driving me daft. Go back to your window if you must, but hold your tongue.
Davik.
What is it, Mary? Is Margaret all right?
She's gone, Davik. Vanished. Her room is empty.
I thought I told you to lock her in at night.
A few minutes ago, she called for me and asked for a glass of water. I left the door unlocked to fetch it, and when I came back, she was no longer there. The spectre bridegroom has come for her.
Quiet, woman. She's not well. She may have wandered alone out into the storm. Wallace, call out the guard and have horses saddled for all. We'll search every crag, every inch of the moor, every road until my daughter is found. I'll have her back, though I feel the dead hands of Kenneth Dunbar at my throat. Hold, Wallace. Look yonder. You see that faint light glimmering through the rain?
It's from some house, Sir Davik. Come, the men have already turned off. We must hurry.
No, Wallace. That's no house. I wonder I didn't think of it before. It is there that we shall find Lady Margaret. I pray we're still in time.
I think we're in the neighborhood of Dunbar Castle, Sir Davik, but not near enough to see a light.
True. But we're close upon the ancient chapel of the family built centuries ago.
That gloomy place has been sealed as long as I can remember. No one's been near for years.
You're mistaken. Within the week, the place has been occupied. You forget that Kenneth, Earl of Dunbar, was buried there. Come, Wallace. Leave the horses, Wallace. Hurry. I see the chapel door stands ajar.
This is not to my liking, Sir Davik. If I could get the men...
There's no time for that, you fool. Quickly now.
Look. Up front near the altar. Lady Margaret and the dead man.
And the dominie from the town kirk stands before them. His lips are moving. Perhaps he prays.
All the prayers in Scotland will not bring life to that bloodless youth.
We must stop this sacrilege. Follow close. Dominie, hold your blessing. You do not know the revolting blasphemy you commit.
You're too late, Father. We fear your anger no longer. There's nothing you can do to separate us now.
Margaret, if you think O'Donnell will stand by to see his daughter snatched from him by the hand of death...
MacDonald, please. In the name of the friendship you once bore my father...
There was no bargain that my daughter should be your bride in death.
Sir Davik, the night of the feast I was suffering in mind and body. I could not speak the news I bore.
You lie. At midnight, from your own bloodless lips, I heard...
Your unjust accusation drove me to it. Although I have loved Margaret from the beginning of memory, I was ready to say farewell.
Gentlemen, this is no place to fight with words or swords. If Sir Davik objects to this marriage...
Objects? Dominie, this man is dead. The Earl of Dunbar has sold his soul to the devil to come back from the grave.
Davik MacDonald, Earl of Dunbar, sleeps peacefully in the vault below us. His younger brother, Douglas, has just been joined in wedlock to your daughter.
What? Douglas Dunbar.
I don't condone the false impression given you by the present Earl, nor do I condone the secret wooing of your daughter. But of his love, there is no doubt.
And I love him, Father. Even before I knew he wasn't Kenneth, I loved him. Nothing mattered. Even Black Donald's prophecy.
Douglas de la Mort.
That title given by the Normans to the second sons of the House of Dunbar, has long been forgotten, Sir Davok. I ask your forgiveness for playing the role again.
I could not withhold it if I would. All this had to be, my son. Douglas de la Mort. Douglas of death. Margaret was foreordained by Black Donald himself to be your bride. The bride of death.
Sometimes the ingredients of life seem to brew a dark and terrible potion. And yet there's always one final ingredient that's always there. Call it what you will. Luck, chance, fate. It is always there.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have heard another immortal tale in The Weird Circle. Bellkeeper, toll the bell. Be here in this lonely cave by the restless sea once again next time for another immortal tale in The Weird Circle.